like I got kale in my teeth. I got some dental floss though. How many glasses? Aubrey? Oh. Probably looking for him. You tell him his glasses here, bro. He probably looking for him. Oh boy. Gotta move soon, guys. We looking. Don't do what? Oh no, we trying to stay open. Oh no, we ain't going to 44. We probably going. Riverdale. We trying to find some Riverdale. Definitely going over there. Y'all already got a camp over there. Why would we do that? We ain't doing that. We ain't trying. Well, no, we Lord already working on that side. They need on this side. Yeah, that was our whole reason for standing on this side. Yes, and Gary. Yeah, Lord willing, they go through. I think it is. But no, Sis Colleen, we wouldn't do that. That'd be bogus on our part. Wow. Why, Brett? Outside smoking. Look, come on up here. Hey, man, close your shirt, man. You on camera. Close your shirt. You see your chest hairs? Thank you to Fonz. That's my dude. All right, let's get ready to open up. That's your Bible. That's your Bible right there? Yeah. Can you see that? Oh, well, you got them bifocals. So they kind of thick, right?
Nah, you can see far.
Oh, no, this is a mess. All right, we're going to go and open up. You can grab your mic, brother. When you get him, right here. When you get done, say forever. In Jesus' name you pray, man. You ain't got to read that to open up.
All right, we're going to stand
Go
up.
ahead, start.
Stand
I
up.
got it. Go ahead and start. We take care of that. Go ahead.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
Our kingdom come.
Thy will be done on earth.
Thy will be done on earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
In Jesus'
forever.
name. Forever in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name we pray.
We pray.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. All right, so we gonna open up for Q&A. Let me see here. All right. Before we go online, see what we got in-house. Anything in-house? You can come on to the mic.
Can I speak?
Yeah. You can pull the mic off. Nah, right there. See them, grab the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, grab the mic. Slide it. You leave that alone.
Oh.
No, don't touch that. Pull the mic up.
Like
No,
that.
the mic comes out of that.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right.
Testing.
Yeah, go ahead.
What does it say about smoking weed in the Bible? Or
About smoking weed?
yeah.
That's a good question. It don't say nothing about smoking weed in the Bible. But I think I know what you're getting at. So let's go have a look at. Go to 1 John chapter 3. First John chapter 3. And read verse 4. First John chapter 3 and verse 4. Go and read that.
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law.
Uh-huh.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
Go ahead.
And you know that he was...
Hold on. Put the mic on there. Put it on there. Slide it back forward like I had it. No, you bring it over. Bring it over to the left. Bring it over this way. Come on. In front of you. Put it right here. Put it right here. Put it right here. All right, now you good. All right. Now you just read normal. It'll pick you up. All right, go ahead.
And you know that he was manifested.
Keep going. Now, read that verse again.
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
Right, so you see what sin is, right? It's transgression of the law. So in order for me to say it's something wrong with you smoking weed, I would have to, in order for me to call it a sin, I got to be able to look and see that it was a law for you not to do it. You see what I'm saying? So I can't find a law in the Old Testament saying that it's a sin, but because that's what's the definition of sin. So you won't be able to read that. You know what I'm saying? As far as smoking weed. So give me 1 second. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. First Corinthians chapter 10, because even though we may not see it as it may not show up in the Bible as a sin, it can become sin. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how it's done, it's like was Nathan here?
Yes.
Nathan.
This is Zoe.
Nathan. I need him to get up. Nathan. Are you getting Brother John, Brother Darabody again? I just need to turn this gain up for me. So it may not be a sin. Can you bring Aubrey's gain up on his mic for me? So for in-house, thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt your Sabbath day rest, son. I'm so sorry. It sounded like he about to snap on me. His nose flared up. Say something. Yeah, just talk.
Testing.
Perfect.
Testing.
Perfect. Thank you, son. Appreciate that. All right, so it may not always be good, even though like I can't read it as a sin, right? It's actually 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Pick it up at 1 Corinthians chapter 8. And let's pick it up at, start at verse 8. Go ahead.
But meat commended us not to God.
Now, in this chapter right here, they're talking about, it starts off, with things pertaining to idols. You know what I'm saying? It's mainly referencing you fellowshipping with somebody that happened to hold on. Okay. No, I ain't gonna read all that. All right, so in this right here, it's mainly talking about eating those things that are sacrificed to idols, right? And when you start off around verse 1, you'll see what it's talking about. It's concerning things touching idols. And like I said, in this case, it's mainly discussing, you know, how we understand being in the Word, that all these different idols that are in the world, you know, other things that are considered gods, they don't exist. It's vanity, you know what I'm saying? They don't mean nothing. They're not, it's only one true and living God. We understand that, right? So if you went over to somebody's house and they was celebrating Christmas, you wanted to eat the Christmas dinner, not the pork or nothing like that. I'm just saying you want to eat the Christmas dinner. Well, to God, like we know that God ain't real, right? So we like, y'all sacrificing to nothing that don't exist. You know what I'm saying? But we understand that. Everybody don't understand that. So it wouldn't behoove you to be there, because you can cause them to fall, you know, based on the life that you live, based on the person you supposed to be, somebody in the truth, got some understanding, and they watching you. So why would you be over there partaking in that, right? Even though you know that, hey man, your God don't exist. I can eat this mess if I want to. It ain't like you got a real God anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it don't make sense for you to do that, because it don't benefit them. And that's why even in this chapter here, Paul will tell you that knowledge puffeth up. So yeah, you got knowledge, but sometimes it can be used in the wrong way. You understand? So he said right here in verse 8, but meat commend us not to God. So it's not gonna bring us closer. Neither what?
For neither if we eat are we the better.
Uh-huh.
Neither if we eat not are we the worse.
Right, so it don't matter. It ain't gonna, you know, ain't gonna do nothing. That God don't exist. You see what I'm saying? That Christmas God is fake. That's vanity. But we understand that, right? Go ahead and read. What'd he say?
But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak.
Uh-huh. Now pay attention now. He said, but take heed though, lest this liberty, because you got the freedom to do it. But he said, take heed lest this liberty or this understanding that you have be what? Take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become what?
A stumbling block to them that are weak.
Oh, so you can end up causing somebody to fall short of the kingdom based on what you know. See, you know it. You know that God don't exist. You know all this stuff you doing for Christmas and Easter. It don't matter because God ain't honoring that crap. Everybody don't know that though. You see what I'm saying? So he said, take heed lest your liberty become a stumbling block to them that are weak. Talking about weak in the mind, right? What else he say?
For if any man see that which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple.
So he say, now check this out, brother. He say, for if any man see thee, which has knowledge, sit at meat or sit at the table in the idol's temple. You eating that meat at the idol's temple, right? In the idol's temple. If any man see that, it says, shall not the conscience of him, which is weak, be emboldened to do what?
To eat those things which are offered to idols.
Right, so when they're going to see you there, that's going to encourage them to keep on doing it. Because they see you there. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead and read.
And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish for whom Christ died.
Right, so he said, but and through your knowledge shall the weak brother perish for whom Christ died. Like, in other words, you're going to cause him to fall. Christ died for all of us, but shall he perish because of, Yeah. Just make sure you shut the blind back. Think back. He says, shall the weak brother perish because of what you know? You're going to cause him to fall short because of what you know, right? You understand, like I said, it ain't a big deal. God ain't paying attention to that stuff anyway. But you're going to end up causing him to fall because you're going to embolden him to continue doing what he's doing because he see you doing it. Go ahead and read, brother.
But when you sin so against the brethren, and would wound their weak conscience.
So when you sin, right? He say when you sin so against the brother, right? When you do this to your brother, and you wound or you damage their weak conscience anyway, who do you really sin against?
You sin against Christ.
Oh. So even though smoking weed ain't a sin out the Bible, right? That don't mean you just go around and be like, shoot, boy, I'm in the truth. We got the word, but I got that fire too, boy. You know what I'm saying? I got that fire in the book and in the word. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I got that gas. You ain't gonna be doing that, you know what I'm saying? Because what about the people that's watching? Like, you gonna cause them to look at you like, okay, well, y'all, I guess y'all call yourselves dealing with the word. Y'all keep the Sabbath and stuff, but you still smoke weed? Well, hey, what's the difference? I'm gonna keep doing it too then. You understand what I'm saying? So just because you don't see it as a sin, that don't mean that it's always good to do it. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so now, go ahead over to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. I think it was that. Oh, yeah. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Pick it up at verse 23. Go ahead.
All things are lawful for me.
Now, pay attention now, because we back to this, idols again. Paul talking about in 1 Corinthians 10 here. And back to really what we were saying, he going to break it down a little bit more in this right here. But he said, hey, all things are lawful for me. He go into it a little bit further, talk about if somebody bid you to a feast. You can go to the feast, but it may not be good for you to do it. It's probably going to mess that person up again. Just like you talking about that 8. But Paul's saying all things are lawful for me. Hey, it's okay. The Lord ain't tripping on that because we understand. See, we got to understand it. We ain't going to your party because we really want to serve your God. We coming because we just want to eat your food. It's free food. And we know it don't mean nothing to God. But like Paul said, all things ain't law. All things are lawful for me, but what?
But all things are not expedient.
Like, see, some things ain't necessary, bro. Because everything ain't going to always be for the benefit of somebody else. You can never hurting somebody. You see what I'm saying? Causing them to fall. So that's why he say, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. What else?
All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not.
Oh, notice what he say, though. But all things edify not. So, like, you can be, hey, you might be chiefing, man, but, and I ain't promoting weed or nothing like that. I ain't promoting doing none of that. But like I say, I can't see it as a law. So you're going to do it. Don't be out here making the Lord look bad. You know what I'm saying? I can't, as bad as I want to be like, man, stop, you can't do it, but I can't do that because that's me taking power from God, and I can't do that. Like, I'm a man, I ain't God, so I can't be like, you can't do it. That's what happened in the Sunday church. They start making things a sin that ain't a sin. You see what I'm saying? Like, we saw what sin is. Sin is transgression of the law. So you got to be able to go back to the Old Testament and see where he said don't smoke weed. You don't see that nowhere. You see what I'm saying? So I can't tell you that that's wrong. But what I can say is, like, you can make it become sin by how you deal with that. You understand? So like he's saying right here, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Because remember, as a saint, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to provide edification. But all things don't edify. You see what I'm saying? Like, you come around somebody smoking and chiefing, and they know you in the word. That ain't who you edifying. Like, who are you benefiting? Who are you helping? You see what I'm saying? If you're going to do it at your crib, man. But at the same time, you still got a law of the land to abide by. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people may go over to Denver and get away with it. Some people may go to California and get away with it. But, if that ain't the law of your land, don't do that. You understand? All right, but he say what? All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. What else?
Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth.
Right, so he said, let no man seek his own. In other words, you ain't trying to worry about what's going to benefit you. You're going to be concerned about the next man. So let no man seek his own, but what?
But every man another's wealth.
Right. So you know the well-being of somebody else is what you're concerned about. Because remember now, you're not trying to wound his weak conscience. All right. What it say? All right. So that's good on that. You can go read the rest on your own. Go over to Romans chapter 14. Romans chapter 14. And read verse 16. One verse. What did that say?
Let not then your good be evil spoken of.
Oh, you see that though, right? He said, let not then your good be evil spoken of. You know, because you still represent the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So there's a fine line. You know what I'm saying? Like even with that, like for instance, like I like to get an example, you know, a while back when I was, I think I was in my 20s, man. I had just moved back home. My dad came over my house. I might have been about 25, 26, something like that. I had some Michelob sitting on the kitchen, you know, the dining room table. And my dad was coming over to see my kids, you know what I'm saying? He was coming over to hang out, see the grandkids, whatever. And I just had some beer sitting on the table, and he come over, I'm not finna drink my beer, you know what I'm saying? I'm grown now, I can do what I want to do. And he came in the house, and he saw, and he was like, you gonna disrespect me like that and have that beer sitting out here like that? You gonna drink this in front of me? And I'm saying to myself, like, dang, dude, you still look at me like I'm like 10? You know what I'm saying? But, like, I can drink if I want to, you know what I'm saying? But it was a stumbling block. You see what I'm saying? It was a problem for him. Even though I knew that, I mean, I wasn't in the Word at the time, but I just kind of go back to how, like even though I had that freedom to drink, I'm older now, it still was an offense to my father, even in my own place. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it can be with some of the things we do now. You know, if it's going to be a problem, somebody don't do it, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I can't tell you what to do in your own house. I can't make that a sin either. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be out here in public doing it. You know what I'm saying you worshiping God. But at the same time, you know, you still there's a level of responsibility that comes with serving God too. You know, I ain't want nobody calling you and they can't talk to you about the word because you lit. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be mindful of that also. But one place I like to look at on top of that is the book of Daniel. Daniel, let's see here.
Did you put it up?
Did I put up what?
The bill.
I put it up, yeah. I put it up. But, you know, it didn't, back then it didn't really register. And then I came into the Word. And, you know, Paul was saying in 1 Corinthians 10, if meat caused my brother to offend, I ain't going to eat meat. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it was. I understood why he got upset. And I say, well, you know what? If that's going to offend you, when you come around, I just ain't even drinking. So like now today, he come to my house, ain't no beer going to be out. I'm 40-some years old now. You know what I'm saying? Ain't going to be no beer out because I know it's going to offend him. You see what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with you chiefing. I mean, if you do it, whoever does it, you know, being in the Word, you still want to, you know, you don't want to cause a stumbling block in front of somebody, you know. But let's see here. Daniel chapter 5. And let's look at, that might be 4. Daniel, I think it's 5. Hold on. Yeah, Daniel chapter 6. Start at verse 1. Go ahead.
It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him.
So now what it's saying here, it said Daniel was preferred of all of them because he had an excellent spirit in him. They couldn't find nothing wrong in Daniel, right? So he had an excellent spirit in him. So, the king already knew, like, hey, put him over all of them. That's why I say, I need to turn that down. It said it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, right? Now, we're talking about Daniel being a slave, you know what I'm saying? But Darius, Daniel found favor as far as Darius is concerned by Darius. So it said, over these, he found 20 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, right? And over these 20 princes, 3 presidents, all right, of whom Daniel was first. Then it says that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes. So, talking about somebody at the bottom of the totem pole, a slave, he is preferred above everybody. Over the 20 princes, over the 3 kings, he was the top king. All right? It says the prince, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. What else?
Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom.
So notice what it say, right? It say, then the presidents, because they mad at Daniel. So they sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. They was trying to find a way to say that he's wrong in one way, shape, or form. So they trying to figure out a way to get him. Go ahead and read.
But they could find none occasion nor fault.
Right, but they couldn't find occasion or fault. They couldn't find nothing wrong with this brother. He wasn't doing nothing wrong when it came to the kingdom. Like in the kingdom, if it say you can't smoke weed in Atlanta, you understand? Don't let that be no fault found in you. You get what I'm saying? Like it wasn't nothing found wrong in Daniel. So they had to go to some desperate measures to try to catch him up. Go ahead and read, brother. What it say?
For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him.
But can you read? Can we say that about ourselves though? Like, see, this is the kind of records you really want to have. Like I said, I can't say it's no sin for you to smoke weed because we can't read that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we still represent God, though. You see, so it said what? They couldn't, neither was there any error or fault found in him. What else?
Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God.
That was the only thing they could find. So they had to come up with a way. They concocted a way to catch his brother up. They said we can't find no occasion against him unless we find it against the law of his God. So what they said was, well, we gonna put out a decree that we find anybody making supplication to any other God besides the king over the next 30 days, we're gonna throw him in the lion's den. Daniel knew. He kept on praying though. But they couldn't find no wrong in him. You see what I'm saying? Concerning the kingdom. You see? And right now, it may be a law somewhere else. If that's, hey, you over there and you chiefing over there, hey, I need business. I mean, I can't say nothing wrong against that. You know what I'm saying? But I know over here it's against the law of the land. So go to Romans chapter 13. It's against the law over here in Atlanta. Like, I know they did a little misdemeanor thing. You know what I'm saying? But, it probably going to come a point where it's going to be out the books anyway. You can just chief. Wait, if you're going to do it, just wait until that time. Like I said, I ain't advocating for none of it. But what I am saying is, like, you don't want to have nothing on you. You don't want to be somebody that's supposed to be dealing with the word and you getting caught up in jail for smoking weed. You riding in the car, you getting caught, you got weed in the car, now you got to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may come a time when they just going to pass a law where, hey, it's just like smoking a cigarette. Until then, just hold yourself together unless you move to California or Denver or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But go look at Romans chapter 14. Romans chapter 14. Is it Romans 14? What am I looking for? No, Romans 13. Romans 13. And start at verse 1.
Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. You can sign in from our page. You can sign in on your phone. We got this dude call himself Gay Jesus. Yeah, troll, yeah. I don't feel like fighting with him. Huh? Do you have it on your phone? I got it on my phone. I think Nate brought it. You say blacks don't go to heaven. They go to hell. It's like they wait for us to come online. They got nothing better to do, man. Goodness gracious. Wow. That's crazy. Romans 13:1. Read that again, brother.
Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
Mm-hmm.
For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God.
Mm-hmm.
Whosoever therefore resisted the power, resisted the ordinance of God.
Now pay attention now. The powers that be are set up by who? Ordained to who?
Of God.
Of God. Right, so your different polices and stuff like that, you know, magistrates or whatever, God set all them up, all the way up to Trump. God put that stuff in order. But in particular here, we really come bringing it down to the one that carried, the gun, or your polices and stuff like that. That's why I say, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resists the power, resists the ordinance of God. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. So he got powers that are set up, that the Lord set up there. That's why I say they're ordained of God. Got them set up. They have certain laws and ordinances that they have set up. If you resist that, you resist an ordinance of God. Now, we ain't talking about these homosexual laws that he passing, okay? You know, they weren't putting this on the books back when this was going on, even though they was trying to make a city into it, you know. But I'm just saying they wasn't so bold to the point they was, you know, making laws from what I understand as far as on the books. But what he said, verse 3.
For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil.
Right, so he said, for rulers are not a terror to good works. They ain't going to bother if you're doing good. That's how it should be. You know, you being black on a Tuesday is probably a problem. You know what I'm saying? When it don't matter. But this is how it's supposed to be. It say, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. That's where you run into most of your trouble at. This is where a lot of us may run into different situations with the police when we breaking the law. They ain't really going to bother you if you ain't doing that wrong. You see what I'm saying? So that's why he's saying that. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. What?
Will you then not be afraid of the power?
Keep reading.
Do that which is good.
So they say, do that which is good. Don't break their laws and nothing like that. Do that which is good. Keep reading.
And thou shalt have praise of the same.
Keep reading.
For he is the minister of God to thee for good.
Right, and even though we don't like them a lot, we have discrepancies with the police because they treat us pretty bad. I mean, because we done got to a time where it's pretty bad now. I mean, we getting ready to walk into a bad time for Jake, you know, the Israelites. But up until this time, I removed it, but I just need you to watch it just in case. So he said, for he is the minister of God to thee for good. You know, you think about it, somebody breaking your house or somebody about to come in and do you wrong, you know, you pick up the phone, you call 911. They should be there in a timely fashion, right? You know. Depending on where we live at nowadays, because they may not even come out, you know. But he say, for he's the minister of God to thee for good. Go ahead and read.
But if you do that which is evil, be afraid.
Right, so, but he say, if you do that which is evil, be very afraid. Go ahead. Be afraid. Keep reading.
For he buried not the sword in vain,
Uh-huh.
for he is the minister of God,
Mm-hmm.
a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil.
But you see that? He said he don't bear the sword in vain. Not to say you're going to get shot for smoking weed. Just let you know that when you do things against the laws that they have set up, you put yourself in harm's way as far as whether it be getting on probation, a misdemeanor. You know, these are things that on the surface don't seem like a big deal until it come time you're looking for a job because it's on your record now. You see what I'm saying? So just stay away from that if at all possible. If you got to do something, do it in your house. But there's a law saying don't do it right now. Just keep yourself clean. So nobody has anything on you. You understand what I'm saying? And then you never know what they're going to do in the future. You know what I'm saying? But until then, keep yourself clean. All right? Anything else in the house?
I got a question. You can tell me. You ain't got to go through all the Bible. Moses was one of the most highest prophet that there was, right?
Who?
Moses.
He was what now?
The most highest. I mean, he was not the most highest, but he was a. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Chief.
The Lord said he's going to make him a god to the people.
Okay,
He
yes,
made him God to Pharaoh. So like
you answered that. I got it now. But this is the question I need to know. You said something about the poor. I mean, I get to the poor all the time, but every time I look up, they beg. The same first person keep coming to me with as begging and stuff. I get tired of giving like that. I mean, I give to them, but I get tired of. I get broke by the time I go home. Just come from Walmart. So should I just keep giving to them because they say they poor. You know what I mean?
give what you can, sis.
Yeah, I do.
Give what you can. However you can bless
Then
the poor.
I hate to turn them down though, because that's the
But some of them you probably get to so much they know that you really would if you had it.
They like they see me when I'm coming.
Well, we got a guy that see us when we come. His name Willie, and he always be like, he always do his hand like this. Every time he sees, like, oh,
Yeah. Okay, that's all. That's all I got for today. I got more questions for you next time.
Okay. Yeah, just do the best you can. Sometimes, you know, I told the Lord, if He continue to bless me, I'll bless the poor. And then sometimes I don't have it. You know, I'll tell him I ain't got it right now. Or sometimes I end up giving out to somebody, and I see somebody else, and I say, man, I just gave my last to him, man, because, you know, I walk around, it feel kind of bad not to be able to help him. But yeah, one guy, Willie, man, he just knew us. I mean, dude, he spotted both. He know both my vehicles. He don't see me. He see my wife. We go to the liquor store. You know, I'll get him some liquor. Well, all he wants is soda. He wants soda and cigarettes. So I buy him soda and cigarettes. I don't buy him Newports. They too much. So I get him a cheap pack of cigarettes. And if I have it, you know what I'm saying, I don't have it all the time. But, you know, do what I can. But that's what you want to do because, you know, we say we're going to always have the poor with us. But sometimes you may not have it. You know what I'm saying? You know what you can afford to give, but the Lord going to always take care of it. Like you say, you lend to the poor, you lend to the Lord. Yeah, He going to take care of it. I don't get too carried away, though, as far as, you know, asking about what you going to do with it, what you going to buy. I just give it to them, and then you might send them the next day. Hey, that money you gave me yesterday, that was for yesterday. Now they need some more money to survive the following day, you see. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's what we're taught in the churches. You know, we got to give them a rundown, and we got to treat them like, you're always begging. You want some food, all you want to do is go buy some alcohol. Well, do you say that to the preacher when he asking you for all your money? You know what I'm saying? Like the preacher, the one who made you turn against the poor anyway. You know, but at the same time, we can give him all our money for all the fancy stuff that he want, and then when it comes to the poor, we turn our nose up at him. What you gonna buy with this? Oh, I'll take you to go buy something to eat. We was in New York, and this dude was like, I need some money for some H's and some weed. Remember that dude? He was like, I need some money for some H's and some weed. Oh, that had to be New York. And when I say H's, y'all know what I mean, right? Huh? He said some hoes. He said, I need some money. He had a sign out there sitting out right there in Times Square. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead and tell the truth, brother. Don't even lie. Just tell the truth. You might, hey, I ain't finna support your fornication. Because I understand that's fornicating. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, you being more truthful than the preachers are. You know? But I don't know. I'd rather you just say, man, I want to give me something to drink. I need to get me a beer. I need to get me some liquor, some cigarette, say that. But I'm not going to pay for no harlot, man, But we saw that in New York. That was crazy. But anything else in the house? Don't come on up. We're going to get y'all online.
I had a question. So like, I know Jesus said turn the other cheek. Mm-hmm. So what if you find yourself in a situation where somebody want to do harm to you? How are you supposed to react to it? Are you supposed to defend yourself or just get beat up? Or I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to do if you somewhere and there's no way? I know you walk away, but if there's no way you can get out of it, what you supposed to do out there? Not saying, I know you're
talking about like as far as fighting is concerned?
Yeah, you ain't supposed to start no trouble, but if trouble come to you and you can't get out of it, what do you do? Do you just take that lick or you just... I mean, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, let's go look at that. Let's go look at that. Come on. I only got so many cheeks I can turn. I can turn one time, turn the other time, then after that, man, it's a fight. You keep on hitting me, we fighting, man. That's a fight going on. Oh, man, let's see here. All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Let's have a look at it. You go, Sister Tanya? Oh, okay. Oh, you finna head out? Oh, okay. All right, so Matthew 5. Pick it up at verse 39. Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
But I say unto you that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also.
Right, so that's all I got. I got the other one, and it don't say keep turning. That's all I'm leaving you with, bro. I'll turn the other one, but one thing I do know is that, Matthew chapter 5, it starts off with the Lord explaining to them how to deal with the ministry. You understand what I'm saying? So I see it a certain way when I read it, you know what I'm saying? But to keep myself from putting my foot in my mouth, I have to leave it up to you. But like I say, when I look at it as how he's telling you how to deal with the ministry. You see what I'm saying? Even Peter, when they was coming to get the Lord, he pulled that sword out and cut dude ear off. You know what I'm saying? The Lord just told him one time right now. He put the ear back on. You know what I'm saying? But he was about it. He was ready to go in for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So there's time for everything. And we'll go read that. So, but let's come back over here to start at verse 17. And I'm gonna show you why I say when I read it, I see it this way, because I just look at it on the context of it, and that's all I do. I look at it on the context of it. I don't take it to mean anything outside of the word. Some people may see it as outside of the word, but that would have to be you and how you look at it. I just look at it in context and I leave it at that. Some people may look at it as period. You know what I'm saying? I can't see that right there, because I know how he's starting off with it. He's starting off the ministry, and he tell him somewhere else, don't take your purse. No, he said he say don't take a script with you. You know, he talking about a bag. Don't take no bag with you. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get to where you're going, y'all, you know, you're gonna be straight. You're gonna be taken care of. But is he talking about don't take a script, don't take a bag at all? You see what I'm saying? So I kind of look at it just dealing with context, period. All right, but look at Matthew 5, read verse 17.
Think not.
No, stop. Look at verse 1. Matthew 5 and 1, read that. Go ahead.
And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain.
Uh-huh.
And when he was set, his disciples came unto him.
Mm-hmm.
And he opened his mouth.
Now, he talking to his disciples, right? See, remember now, you ain't got chapters and verses, all right? So he just talking to his disciples, and this is how the conversation gonna go. It said he saw the multitude. When he saw the multitude, he went up into a mountain. And when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, blessed are what?
Blessed are the poor in spirit,
Uh-huh.
for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Uh-huh.
Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed are the meek,
Mm-hmm.
for they shall inherit the earth.
All right, skip down to verse 11.
Blessed are you when men shall revile you
Mm-hmm.
and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely
Uh-huh.
for my sake.
Now, but this is what the Lord is saying to his disciples. You know, let them know, hey, you blessed. You know, you go out here and you do this, and people going to say things about you and stuff like that. Hey, you blessed, you know, for people saying stuff about you for my name's sake, right? When men revile you. What do you tell them to do in verse 12?
Rejoice.
But it's for his sake, though, right? Just keep that in mind. It's for his sake. Like, I'm not getting whooped just on GP. You understand what I'm saying? Like, dude, I don't know about that, man. like somebody come into the house, like we just got, nah, bruh. He said, blessed are they for my sake. Then what he say in verse, where we at?
12.
Okay, go ahead.
Rejoice
Mm-hmm.
and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
Mm-hmm.
You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his savor,
Mm-hmm.
wherewith shall it be salted?
All right, read verse 17.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
Now pay attention to what he say now. As he talking to the disciples. Establishing this gospel. All right? He said, let's make sure we understand something. Think not that I come to destroy the law. All right? Remember this the doctrine of the gospel that's going to be preached. Hey, the law is a part of this. So don't come trying to do away with that. Because I'm not. So he said, think not that I'm come to destroy the law of the prophets. What else?
I am come not to destroy, but to fulfill.
Mm-hmm.
For verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
Right, so hey, I ain't come to destroy the law as long as heaven and earth is here. One jot and one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. But he's talking to his disciples. All right? Telling, giving them a rundown of how to deal with stuff. Then he said in verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and teach men so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven, right? All right, so now let's go to, man, he went in on this. Pick it up at verse 28. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her had committed adultery with her already in his heart.
Right, because it was, on the Old Testament, it was talking about you committing the act. So now he coming, and he letting you know, listen, don't even think about it. You think about it, you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. All right, keep reading.
But I say unto you, that no, I already read that. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell.
Right. So he just tell them, hey, you got a problem with an issue, you need to work it out. Go ahead and cast it off, cut it off. Not talking about physically, spiritually. Whatever members bothering, whatever you're dealing with in this walk, you need to cut it off so you don't end up in the lake of fire. But you need to work that out. That's like with the drinking problem I've been dealing with for some years. And the only way I could really deal with it is, I just had to put myself under a vow with stipulations as far as drinking is concerned. You know what I'm saying? But I had to do something. Because I woke up one morning and said, this alcohol is going to be the death of me. And I was like, man, I just can't do this. I'm going to have to put myself on the vow because, with Israel, we had that liberty to drink. We just, like I tell you, we tried. You can't master alcohol. I'm good. I just drank one. I'm okay. Then next thing you know, everything tastes good. And you done drunk like 5 or 6 of them. And some of the stuff you wouldn't imagine drinking, you drinking it. But that was what I had to do. You understand? I had to get that together. And that's what he mean by, hey, if it offend you, you need to cut it off. It'd be rather for you to go into heaven, into the kingdom maimed, than not to enter in at all. So whatever issue you're dealing with spirit, you need to fix that. So he said, if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. All right, go ahead and read.
It had been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication.
What time you leave? What time you leave? DeMarcus. What time you leave? Okay. All right. We can switch up a little bit. Okay. About 7:15. It's 6:04 now. All right. So he said it had been said, whosoever should put away his wife, let him give a writing of divorcement, right? So now this is Jesus talking to the disciples. He kind of giving them, this is who he rolled with now. And he giving them, he's setting things up now, right? He letting them know how things are done. From this point on. He taking it all the way back to Moses. Moses is when they gave you the writing of divorcement. So he say, if it had been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. That's what Moses said. All right, that's what Moses wrote down. The Lord allowed Moses to do that, because that's what was going on. Brothers didn't have no reason. They just putting the wives away for anything. All right, so Moses gave them a writing of divorcement, and it let them sisters off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Instead of them having to be bound to this man who don't care about them. So the Lord allowed him to write that writing of divorce. But now he's in the flesh, and notice what Jesus is saying himself. Go ahead and read verse 32.
But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery.
Right, so he said, but I say unto you, if you put away your wife, except for fornication, you cause her to commit adultery. So now what Jesus is doing, he's rectifying, and he's bringing it back to how it was originally. You can't put her away unless she commit fornication. There's no more writing of divorcement now, okay? That's what Moses did, but now I'm coming to let you know, if she didn't commit fornication, you can't put her away. So he said, I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, cause her to commit adultery, right? What else?
And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committed adultery.
Keep reading.
Again, you have heard that it had been said by them of old time.
Now notice what he's doing, though. He's taking you back to old time, right? He taking you back to that writing divorce decree. Hold on one second. What we got going on, Brother Will? Yeah, I'm answering his question. So let me finish answering his question. He said, but I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, see, that's what I'm talking about. I got confused. Again, ye have said that it have been said by them of old time. So now he taking you back to something in the old time again, just like he did with the writing divorce decree of Moses. So he talking to the disciples and bringing to mind some things that was said, old in the old time, right? But he already rectified the divorce statement. You can't put her away unless she commit fornication. And if you put her away besides that, you're going to cause her to commit adultery. Then he says in 33, again, you have heard that it have been said by them of old time, thou shalt what?
You should not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths.
So he say, don't swear falsely, but thou shalt perform the Lord thine oath. So whatever you promise, you need to go ahead and do what it is you say. That's what it said in the Old Testament, right? That's what he's taking you back to. That's why it says it's been said of old time. Thou shalt not forswear thyself. Like the footnotes say, swear falsely. But you shall perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But what Jesus going to say?
But I say unto you, swear not at all.
But what Jesus say? He said, but don't do none of that. Swear not at all. I understand what it was said in the old time, but don't swear at all. But he talking to his disciples, right? Go ahead and read.
Neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king.
That's right. So now skip down to verse 38. He said, and then he said, let your communication be yea and your nay be nay. That's how we're going to keep it. Keep it simple. You ain't got to make no swear. You say you're going to do something, just do it. All right? Let your nay be nay and your yea be yea. You ain't even got to go off into the swearing stuff. All right, keep reading. What'd he say? Boy, he was cold-blooded, wasn't he?
You have heard that it had been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth.
Right, so he said, you heard that it had been said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But this here take you to something in general, right? Because this ain't just fitting the disciples, is it? You know, this is something in general. Period. He said, you have heard that it had been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. Go ahead. But we still talking about, dealing with the word. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, that you resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also.
Right, so hey, eye for an eye, you ain't got to worry about getting back at him. Somebody, hit you, just turn the other cheek. And keep reading.
Turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. Right. So, and that's what, and because like I said, if you ain't have no chapters and verses in here, it's just gonna read right into it. It's saying, and if any man will sue thee at the law, we talking about the word, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. You know what I'm saying? They try to, like they do with us nowadays, they try to, come at us, and somebody try to take you back to who you used to be. Now that you're dealing with the word, trying to find a flaw in you. Well, go ahead and give it to him. Yep, I did used to be that way. Matter of fact, I was worse than that, man. Shoot, if you would have known me 5 years ago, boy, I might have robbed you for everything you got. But I've been saved now. You know what I'm saying? Give it all to him. You know how Eminem did on 8 Mile. Eminem put a smooth one. Boy, that's one of the great examples, that I can ever think of. On 8 Mile, when he got to that last battle, I don't know if y'all ever saw that last rap battle, right? And he talked about himself so bad, man. Like he talked about his own self. And when he got done, the dude who was rapping, he couldn't say nothing because he had already put himself out there. So, and that's what we saying. Somebody want to sue you at the law? Hey, okay, yeah, I used to do this. I used to do that. I used to sell drugs. Okay, yeah, and I used to do. Hey, I got in a lot of trouble. But I don't do it no more. Now what you got to say? You see what I'm saying? That's not going to stop me from serving God. That ain't going to stop me from keeping the commandments. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to do this and do that because that's mainly where you're going to have an issue at. People just can't get over the fact that you changed. You know what I'm saying? You get love anywhere else, but in your own family, they know you. They know you as a little kid. They're going to remember everything you did. They're going to remember all your flaws and stuff like that as opposed to you changing and serving God. But if any man will sue thee at the law and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. Go ahead. Where we at?
41.
And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain.
Right. Hey, we ain't talking about walking. There's be a lot of homeless people out there walking. They're going to come out and say, you want to walk with me? Dude, I don't know you, so I'm not going to walk 2 miles with you. We still talking about the law, man. You know what I'm saying? Somebody want to sit down and, go through this thing. Hey, let's go through it. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. And that's what I see here when I read it like this. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I can give you, man. I just wanted to go through it and read it. You know what I'm saying? And then the rest would have to be up to you. But like I say, even when it's all said and done. I only got 2 cheeks. He ain't say turn it again. You say, hit you one time, all right, turn the other cheek. Then after that, like I say, it's a fight because you done hit me 3 times. You know, it's probably a jab and a hook and another jab. So look, I got to swing back now. So we got one question online. Let's see what we got online.
That actually happened to me one time.
It did?
I remember.
Wow.
The guy, he was, wanting to fight. We was at work. And after work, he wanted to step outside the gate. And I was like, no, whatever you want to do, man, we can do. And and next thing I know, he done jabbed me on my, one whatever side of my cheek. And after that, though, he just left it alone. But see, I was provoking him to do it again, but he left it alone after the first time. So,
You're like, just 2 more times. Just 2 more times. Oh, I need that
But
third one.
Some months later, though, after we had left the job, I had seen him I was driving, and he was at the bus stop, and he gestured for me to come over to where he was, and I did, and he apologized for how he acted
Really?
that night. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. I would have, could I hit him back, though? Can I just hit you back? Oh, man. You got something, Brother Will?
I just wanted to have you read 43 and 44, because it's corresponding with the question.
Okay. Read that for Brother Will, please.
What is it, 43 and 44? Mm-hmm. You have heard that it had been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's there's no longer talk about hitting them. But I definitely would do that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody treat you bad, pray for them, stuff like that, and you don't want to do evil to them. But like I said, once again, he's telling them how to deal with things now. And when you think about it, it only makes sense for him to come do that, right? It only makes sense for him to come and rectify things because he came for Israel. Like when he came to Israel being the priest. That's why he was telling them, don't go to the other nations. Don't go to the Gentiles. When he got done teaching Israel, and he got it from the grave, then he told them, now you can go teach all nations. But when he first got here, he was like, nah, don't go to them. Go to the lost sheep. Because it just makes sense how he laying everything out, showing them a correct way of doing things. You see what I'm saying? So after they walked with him for 3.5 years, they should have it now. You see what I'm saying? But he had to start with them first. All right, so thanks, Brother Will. Let's go look at Matthew chapter 12. The question is from Susan Ace, and peace to everybody that's online. Brother Jonathan Brooks, he crazy, man. He say you about to get these jumper cases attached to your face. Brother Jan, what's happening, man? Matthew chapter 12. Let's see here. The question is, who is the queen of the south? And she is going to rise up in judgment. Please explain. And also, does the ship of Tarshish play a role during the end times? Yes, the ships of Tarshish do play a role in the end time. And the queen of the south is really just talking about Queen Sheba. Matthew chapter 12. Let's pick this up at verse 42. Go and read that, brother.
The queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it.
Right, so talking about the generation, that's going to be around when the Lord returns. He say the queen of the south going to rise up in just the generation that he talking to, period, at that particular time. Mainly speaking on the last day. But it say the queen of the south shall rise up in judgment with this generation and shall condemn it, for she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to do what?
To hear the wisdom of Solomon.
Oh, so who did that? Who was that woman that came to hear Solomon? Sheba. So that's the queen of the south. So in other words, it says she's going to rise up in judgment. In other words, it just, from looking at it, talking about she going to be judging. this generation. The queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. So she going to rise up in judgment and condemn the generation. So it look like to me, she might have got some word. You know, if she going to get up and judge this generation, hey, she might have got some word what she did when she went to Solomon. You know, but she could have got converted. You know what I'm saying? We just read about what happened when she was there as far as that a little bit. But, hey, ain't no telling what he spoke to her about that whole time she was over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably broke down and gave her that word, man. And so now we see Jesus saying that the queen of the south going to rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. So, you know, however it mean condemn, we'll see. But we know she's going to get up in the judgment with this generation. But that's the queen she talked. That's the queen. That's the one of the south. It says, also does the ship of Tarshish play a role in the end time? Yes, it does. The ships of Tarshish do play a role in the end time. That's what the Lord is going to use as a mode of transportation to get Israel back into the land. Let's go over to Isaiah, and I think it's Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah chapter 60. Yeah, Isaiah chapter 60, and let's pick this up around verse, because, like I said, I was going to do the wilderness class today, but I'm going to hold off. But the Lord got a way to get his people back. Now, this is when Jesus get back to the earth, you know, but he letting you know all the way in, back in the Old Testament, I should say. Way back in the Old Testament, the Lord has given us a future prophecy telling us how he's going to recover his people from worldwide captivity. When he get back, you know, see, last time we went into captivity, we went in the bottom of ships. This time, we ain't going in the bottom of ship. We coming back to the Lord as if we like a high price possession. You know what I'm saying? Like even other nations ain't gonna be able to come up to Israel without an Israelite with them. So everybody can be looking for us. You can be like, I ain't no Israelite. You know, all the people I'm an Egyptian, I'm an African. I'm like, man, bring your behind on, man. Come on, because in order for the Lord to accept them, they're gonna have to bring an Israelite up. But God got a plan of how he gonna do this. It's not gonna be like as far as even getting to the wilderness, having a way of escape. Listen, God is behind this. God is the one that's orchestrating this whole plan, you see. But way back in Isaiah, he's given us a mode of transportation of even when he get back, how is his people gonna get brought back up to the land? So Isaiah chapter 60, start at verse 9. Read that. Go ahead.
Surely the isles shall wait for me.
Uh-huh.
And the ships of Tarshish first.
Right, so the question is the ships of Tarshish going to play a role in the end? Yeah, they're going to play a role in the end. Notice what it's called the ships of Tarshish. See, just pay attention. If my first time ever going on the cruise was last year. And the way they got them ships is unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. But it's so many of them. All I can do is think about how, like, when it's all said and done, Israel going to be on them ships. I can't prove it, but I know one thing. Them wooden ships that we came on last time, I don't see them around no more. The ships that I do see around, them big old cruise line, Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruise Line. Hey, a Gentile is running this somewhere behind the scenes, man. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, and the reason why my mind thinks is those, because we coming up like a prized possession now. We ain't coming back. We ain't coming like we came over here. We came over here as garbage, eating chitlins at the bottom of slave ships. You know what I'm saying? You got a male's backside and another male's face, the way they stack this and stuff like that. You know, chiseling out our teeth and putting food in our mouth and forcing us to eat this garbage. You know what I'm saying? Dumping us off in the water. You know, coming across the Atlantic slave trade. It ain't going to be like this time, like that on the way back, sisters and brothers. When we come back, now the world going to know we God's people. You know, and it's gonna be a great thing this time. So I can't just see us coming across on the Mayflower, you know, or the Nina Pinta. That don't even exist no more. But he says, surely the isles shall wait for me in the ships of Tarshish. Go ahead and read.
To bring thy sons from far.
Oh, notice what they're going to do, though. These ships going to do what?
Bring thy sons from far.
Bring thy sons from far. Because why we need some ships? Because we done came across. We ain't over in Israel no more. We way over here on the islands. That's why I say the isles of the sea going to wait for me. They're going to wait for the orders to come from God.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? See, we ain't in Israel. If we was in Israel, it wouldn't be no need for ships.
Mm-hmm.
We got scattered. That's what he's talking about, the isles of the sea. See, America will be considered the isle of the sea. The Caribbean, those will be considered the isles of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So he's saying, what? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish, another place he say, I'm going to gather them from the isles of the sea. That's in Isaiah, I think, 30, if I'm mistaken. But surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far. What else?
Their silver and their gold with them.
Oh, notice what's coming with them, though. They coming with silver and gold. That's why I told you, we ain't coming broke, busted, and disgusted like we did last time. I mean, hopefully we take on immortality. But the point is that, hey, you know, even as far as us getting to the wilderness to escape the great tribulation, you know, just by you seeing this right here, that's to let you know, hey, this ain't going to be some cheap type of getaway where you got to call your travel agent and say, you know, I need to make sure, you know, I got a passport, but I ain't got a passport to get to the wilderness. I got a passport to get to Canada to go preach. If Elijah need me, I got a passport. That's what that's for. That ain't to go to get to the wilderness. Because this is God orchestrating this thing. You ain't going to need no passport. Mm-hmm. All you're going to need is the Lord's truth. That's what you're going to need. He said that's going to be your shield and buckler. What he said, to bring thy sons from far, what else? The silver and the gold with them. Keep reading.
Mm-hmm. Unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he had glorified thee.
But that's what's going to happen. Hey, the ships of Tarshish going to come in effect, and they're going to be used to bring up the sons and daughters, bring them up to God. From all over the world. But that's a mode of transportation, right? The ships of Tarshish. Notice another mode of transportation that the Lord showed Isaiah. Read verse 8.
Verse 8. Who are these that fly as clouds?
Now notice what he's saying to Isaiah. He said, who are these, or what are these that fly as a cloud, and what else?
And as the doves to their windows.
And as doves to their windows. What y'all think he's talking about? Airplanes. But it don't say it in the Bible. The Lord is giving you an example way back in the Old Testament. You see what I'm saying? Isaiah say, please don't interrupt me, brother. He said, who are these that fly as a cloud? See, these brothers be catching the spirit up here. He just, oh my God, just relax, man. When I finish, man, I open it up for comment. I was like, ooh. I just don't know, man. He said, who are these? But the point is that God is showing you way back in the Old Testament of how he has a plan to save his people, recover his people. That's why you ain't got to worry about it. We're going to be just fine. But just to answer your question, sister, he talking about the ships of Tarshish. It's going to play a big role in the end time. But what was you about to say, bro? Go ahead and say it now.
It's amazing how airplane, it's an airplane.
Yeah, he said, who are these that fly as a cloud with doves to their windows? Yeah.
They didn't even have it.
And that's how you know it's airplane, because right after that, then he goes and tells you another way he gonna use. That's why I say the ships of Tarshish. You see what I'm saying? He giving you two modes of transportation to get his people back to him. But Isaiah, he can't see it. He don't know what it is. So he like, what is this that's flying as a cloud with doves to their windows? A bird don't got windows, do they? But an airplane got windows, don't it? And it fly like a dove. You see? So that's what it's hitting on, man.
Wow. Anybody should be able to
hey, man,
look at that.
The Lord got it. All right, Sister Tanya. Lord got a head,
and ask the question, how could they think about it wasn't no airplane back then. It
wasn't. Just like it wasn't no locust, no stuff as far as war material concerned. But John in Revelation saw how it was going to end, But he saw this, and he described it as locusts and stuff like that. Scorpions with fire coming out of his mouth. But it just let us know in our time what we talking about. We talking about war material. You see what I'm saying? But this is how you know the word of God is true, though. This is how you know this is the real deal, man. That's why, can't no other books match up to it. The Quran can't. Your best life now. None of that stuff don't match up with the Bible. That's why it behooves us just to deal with the word of God. All right, so let's see what else we got online. All right, caught the spirit on me. Man. Let's see here. Let's see. Yep. Also is Ophir in the Philippines and Africa. Where you see that at? Where you see that at, sis? Let me see here. Matthew 24:20, and then we're going to open up for one more in house, and we'll come back in house. We're just going to answer one more line. Matthew 24:20, please explain why it would be bad if the flight be on the Sabbath day. That's a good question, Brother Reggie, but it don't really say. We just mainly, take it back to how everything is usually shut down, during the Sabbath, especially in Jerusalem. There's another place where they couldn't travel over a Sabbath day's journey. So I don't actually know why. I just know that he said, pray that your flight be not on the Sabbath. So I don't know why, because, I know he was talking to them over in that area, so I don't know how they do it, because the real Israelites ain't over there. You know what I'm saying? So I have no idea. All we can do is just speculate. It don't really say, you know what I'm saying? But as far as speculation is concerned, that's all I can see. So read that, Matthew 24:20. Go ahead.
But pray you that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
Right, so what did he say in verse 21?
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Right, so as far as running, that's what I mean by flight. Just pray that your flight be not in the winter, because in the wintertime it's cold. You know what I'm saying? So, it's going to be, the great tribulation going to come. And you got to run. You got to flee. That's the flight mean. But, one thing, I'm hoping it ain't in the wintertime. Because I can't stand cold. I was, you can come up to the mic. I was stuck on that Chattahoochee the other night. It was getting cold. I was like, man, I can't do that. I left my jacket in the car. Y'all know we got stranded out there the other night. The police had to come get us. Had to send a boat on the water and everything. But the point is, I could barely do that cold. It was only cold for like an hour, But pray that your flight be not in the wintertime. It's going to be a bad time when it's cold. Go ahead, Nemo. What you got? It's on.
Yes, if we look at the way the Lord gave us the Sabbath day and the things that we are to observe on the Sabbath day, can light up a fire. Like you said, if it is on winter time, you have to abide. You have to be careful, because cannot use no microwaves either, and we just gotta follow really closely what the Lord says. Also, we have to see that there at the same time there's going to be women going to have child, and so we have to be real careful on this flight. That's why we have to prepare constantly every day and meditate on His law on the Sabbath day. That's all I wanted to say.
I agree. It's definitely going to be a bad time. Yeah, so like I say, we just kind of talk and bounce it around. Maybe they're going to have it shut down by that time, because keep in mind, the fake Jews up in that area, they probably going to be in full effect at that time. You know what I'm saying? With sacrificing animals, and probably going to have their temple built. They're going to have a temple built in order for the Pope to stand in it. So, they probably going to be hardcore Sabbath. Ain't nobody moving, you know what I'm saying? So, that could be what it means. Like it's just speculation. But I don't have enough to actually say why, though. I just pray that my flight ain't in the wintertime on the Sabbath day, though. So, any questions or comments before we come back in-house? All right, so we're going to come back in-house for questions, then we'll jump back online. Come on up. Feel free.
My question is in Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads, and Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. I was wondering what kind of, do you have any idea what kind of fire this is?
Well, it don't say, but evidently it was something they weren't supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you look at Saul, the Lord told him to kill everything, keep even Agag the king, right? And he spared Agag, didn't he? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, and we kept the good animals, you know, so we could sacrifice them to God.
Right.
And what did Samuel tell him? Like, you disobeyed God. Obedience is better than the sacrifice of the rams. You know what I'm saying? It's better than sacrifice. It's better to do what God says. So sometimes we can get a little zealous, you know what I'm saying, and go off and going off into doing more than what's necessary and cause us to get in trouble with God. And that's what really happened right here. But he don't tell you what a strange sacrifice was. He just offered up strange fire. So when I see that, it's probably something they wasn't supposed to be handling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It kind of scared me when I read it. I said, he wasn't playing.
Oh, no, God don't play. That's just like the brother when they was coming back, when they had got, David went and got the Ark of the Covenant. You know, and the Lord told him, nobody better not touch it, except for the priest. And the brother, you know, it went to lean off the donkey. You know, I can't remember what animal it was, but it went to lean, and the brother would put his hand up to catch it. He meant well, though. But the Lord said, I told you not to tell you. He killed him on the spot. David was like, man, he ain't playing. Let me go sit this down somewhere. I'm going to go seek the Lord and figure out how we're going to get it back. You know, and that's how it is with God. When he tell you, just do it, you know. But they went a little too far, went off up strange fire to God. Lord came down and consumed them, you know. Yeah. But he don't really say as far as exactly what it is they did. It probably was something that they probably did something they shouldn't have been doing. You know, probably that Aaron should have been handling, you know what I'm saying, not his sons. Maybe they got off in the wrong position. That's probably what got him killed. But like I said, it don't say exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Anything else? Y'all come on up. Anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, so Malachi 3 and verse 8. I'm trying to get like a better understanding on it. 'Cause I know it's heavily used for tithing in Sunday church. So I want to see what does it really mean in regards to that.
Say that again.
Like, I guess in context, what is it talking about?
Well, yeah. I was reading Exodus 10 right quick. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm bad. Yeah, I started from chapter 1, tried to read into it. Yeah, but.
And what was your question?
Chapter 3 and verse 8 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it mean in context?
Let's read that. What'd you say when you was reading it? What you saw?
I tried to read into it, but it says what it says. I want to make sure I have more understanding on it.
Okay, I got you. All right, so start at verse 7.
Good chapter.
Malachi 3. Verse 6. Malachi 3 and verse 6.
For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob, are not consumed.
Mm-hmm.
Even from the days of your fathers, you are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them.
Mm-hmm.
Return unto me, and I will return unto you, said the Lord of hosts.
Mm-hmm.
But you said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings?
Now the first thing he said, if I'm the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed, right? So that works even down to us in this time that we're in. Because if it wasn't for the Lord being consistent with His word, how he made the promise with Abraham and with his seed and his children's children, listen, we'd be out of gas. We'd be destroyed as a nation. You just think about all the stuff we've been through as a nation, but we're still here. But he said, what? If I'm the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So it's a blessing that God don't change because we still around. Regardless of all the atrocities that have taken place with us, we still exist. Go and read, though. Verse 7.
Even from the days of your fathers, you are gone away from mine ordinances.
Now, we have a right to be consumed. Because he take it back to even from the days of our fathers, we have gone away from his ordinances, right? And we still doing it. And have what?
And have not kept them.
Uh-huh.
Return unto me,
Mm-hmm.
and I will return unto you, said the Lord of hosts.
Uh-huh. Keep reading.
But you said, wherein shall we return?
Right, so it say, return unto me, and I'll return unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. But you said, where? What you mean, Lord? How do we return? What he say in verse 8, brother?
Will a man rob God?
Uh-huh. And that's the question. He say, will a man rob God? And you think about it, how can we rob God? But he going to tell you, he say, will a man rob God what?
Yet you have robbed me.
Uh-huh, go ahead.
But you say, wherein have we robbed thee?
Well, how do we rob you? How do we take from you, Lord? What he say?
In tithes and offerings.
He say, in tithe and in offerings. See, tithe really don't belong to you. You know that, right? It really belong to God. He give us an opportunity as a free will offering, and that's, a choice we make as individuals. If you want to do that, that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Because God going to take care of you no matter what. But he's saying you robbing me in tithe and an offering. And like I say, tithing don't really belong to you. So if you keeping what belongs to God, you robbing God. But we don't really, we really don't hit on that here. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much in the Bible. So by the time you hear a lesson on tithe and offering, probably going to be like a year and a half, 2 years. Matter of fact, I taught a class on tithe and offering in 2013 at the house. It was called Tithing and Offering, a Request or a Commandment. And ever since then, I never taught one. None of the brothers here, Marcus, Jediah, nobody's haven't taught it since. Elijah does. He does one in Gary. But because, we just don't want to take the chance of somebody walking in here and we're teaching the class on tithing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, dude, man, I'm leaving the church. I'm trying to get understanding. Boom, I walk in and we teaching on tithing. So we like, nah, we'll let it come up in question and answer. Because it's good, though. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's still necessary. Like, the saints take care of the church. It ain't that God need our money. You know what I'm saying? But how else is the operation going to, function? You see what I'm saying? Like, the church take care of the church. But he's saying here, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithe and in offerings. Go ahead and read verse 9.
You are cursed with a curse.
Now he say, listen, you cursed with a curse. Go ahead.
For you have robbed me.
And the reason why you cursed with a curse, because you have robbed me. What'd he say?
Even this whole nation.
Uh-huh.
Bring you all the tithes into the storehouse.
Now pay attention though. He say, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. And back then, they actually had storehouses. How you think Levi ate? Like if Levi is floating up and down between the 11 tribes, got no land, no food, who do you think taking care of Levi? The people are. So he say, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse that what?
That there may be meat in mine house.
That there be. You think Jesus gonna eat the meat? He's a God. He don't need it. He said, I got cattle on 1,000 hills. If I was hungry, I wouldn't tell you. Because all you're gonna do is end up looking for a reason to sacrifice. He said that in the Psalms. But the point is, it ain't for him. He say what? Bring y'all all the tithes into the storehouse that there may be meat in mine house. What else?
And prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts. If I will not open you the windows of heaven.
He said, now and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and what?
And pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it.
Right, so all he's saying is what? You take care of what I tell you to do, and I'll pour you out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive it. Our forefathers actually had crops. They actually had land where they can do this. So he said, you bring all the tithes to the storehouse and prove me, and watch I take care of you. Watch out. I'm going to make sure you straight. You won't have room enough to receive what I'm going to send you. So I'm going to open up the windows of heaven, right? And what are you going to do, verse 11?
And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes. And he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, said the Lord of hosts.
Right, so, but now you're taking it back to the crops, right? But, because see, that's how they would bring up a tenth. He let them know, hey, everything going to be straight. You ain't got to worry about your crops not growing properly. He said, I'm going to rebuke the devourer for your sakes. And he's not going to be able to come up and stop your crops from doing what it needs to do, properly growing and stuff like that, replenishing itself. It's going to be straight if you do what I tell you to do. Hold on one second. Hello?
Peace, man. How you doing?
Hey, peace, man. What's happening? Okay. Man. We're in Bible study. What's going on?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
You got a question?
I was wondering if you could, y'all after Bible study, two questions. So I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we got it.
All right.
All right, peace, bro. That's brothers on the way back from Jacksonville. I thought something was going on. They okay. He was asking to take his sister home. All right, but anyway, he said, he going to rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, right? Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field of the Lord, before the time of the field, saith the Lord of hosts. Now, you may be thinking, well, that was good for them. You know what I'm saying? We don't got that nowadays. All right, well, that's how they did what they had to do. The Lord said, bring it into the storehouse, right? You got to bring it into the storehouse, and some, they had things, the Feast of Unleavened Bread didn't just come around. All this stuff been around for some time, so they had things set up, like when the feast come around here, we have certain monies to the side. We take care of things and make sure things are straight, make sure everybody gonna eat. Whatever extra thing we need to take care of the church, that stuff going to be taken care of. But the church does that. But now let's go look at 1 Corinthians chapter 9. See, we just do it in a different capacity in this time. But it's still good. 1 Corinthians chapter 9.
Before you go, I just had a real quick, in that verse, where is it at? Verse 9, when it says, even this whole nation, you talking about Israel?
Yeah. Yeah, Israel, yeah. Yeah, we for the most part do the bucking. You know what I'm saying? He always be, we have a relationship with God. We're something else. Yeah, he talking about us, man. So let's see here. Because we're going to go look at some. We're going to go back to the Old Testament in a second. Yeah, go to Haggai because I can't think of it right now. Go to Haggai. Let me show you something. But yeah, he talking about us, man. Because like you read further on, you know, they say what profit is it gonna do us to serve God, you know, and he goes into bargaining with us and stuff like that. But it's talking about us. Haggai chapter 1. And pick it up at verse 2. Haggai chapter 1. And start at verse 2.
Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, This people say, the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built.
Mm-hmm. So now we right back to the Lord's, it's 2 Corinthians now, my fault. We back to, all right, peace, Brother Tony. All right, be safe, man. Have a good week. We back to the Lord's house, just like where we're talking about in Malachi. He said, what, bring ye all the time to the storehouse, right? But it's very important for us to deal with the Lord's house, and that's what a lot of people want to understand. All right, but he say, let's speak with the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say the time has not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. What else?
Then came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, saying, Is it time for you, O you, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste?
Right, now just think about it. You know, everybody here, we got our own bills to pay, right? Got our own things we got to take care of, but we don't put up nothing for the church. You know what I'm saying? We don't put up nothing. We don't put no money. We don't put nothing, no time or nothing to the side, you know, to deal with the church, but we have our own money to take care of our own bills. But we leave the Lord's house, you know, in disarray, right? All right, that's why he's saying here, but I'm bringing it to you now in our time so you understand what he's talking about back then, all right, to our forefathers. So he say, this people say the time has not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. Then came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, saying what?
Is it time for you?
Right, because they said it ain't time for the Lord's house to be built. So the Lord came to Haggai and spoke through his mouth and said, is it time for you what?
To dwell in your sealed houses.
Right, so is it time for you to dwell in your house? Talking about, now, this is what they saying in their heart. It ain't time for the Lord's house to be built. But the Lord is responding by saying, well, is it time for you to dwell in your sealed houses? Like it ain't time for you to take care of my house and build my house, but you can chill in your own house. That's why I say, is it time for you is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses and what?
And this house lie waste.
Keep reading.
Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways.
Now listen to what the Lord say. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Why don't you think about what you're doing? Consider your ways what?
You have sown much. And bring in little.
Oh, see, the Lord finna get him now. He said you done sown much and you bring in little. What else you do?
You eat. But you have not enough.
You eat, but you still hungry.
You drink. But you are not filled with drink.
You drink, but you ain't filled with drink.
You clothe you, but there is none warm.
You clothe you, but there's none warm. What else?
And he that earneth wages.
Wait a minute. He that earneth wages, do what?
Earneth wages to put into a bag with holes.
Oh, so they had a form of compensation as far as something small enough for you to put inside a bag, right? So it wasn't just all about crops. You see, this is another form of payment. Because I know, if you think, well, it just, for someone online who may think, well, it was just, because that's what people say, where they just dealt with crops and stuff like that. Well, that ain't what the Lord is giving an example of right here, is it? He says, you clothe yourself, but there's none warm. And he that earn wages to put into a bag with what?
With holes.
With holes. So it's like you got a bag and you putting your earnings inside the bag. But the Lord got a hole at the bottom of it. All your energy is coming out. Why? Because you ain't taking care of his business. Go ahead and read. What it say, brother?
Thus said the Lord of hosts, consider your ways.
He say, pay attention. Consider your ways. Think about it. Go ahead and read verse 8.
Go up to the mountain and bring wood.
So listen, go. You need to take care of my church. Take care of my business. He said, go up to the mountain and bring wood and do what?
And build the house. And I will take pleasure in it.
Keep reading.
And I will be glorified, said the Lord.
That's right. And that's what he's saying. Listen, you take care of my church and I'll be glorified. And not so much to say because, you know, hey, Lord had a temple that he wanted built, but even today you think about it, like, how we going to fellowship if the bills ain't taken care of? Because I ain't going to pay them. I can't afford it. Like, we got 2 buildings right here. I can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of us got to come together. Lights and stuff. Like, I can barely afford my own light bill. You know what I'm saying? But that's where we come together as a church and take, and it ain't just this church. Like, you look at, we got 10 on the paper. We got 2 more that's about to open up. So that's 12 churches. You think Elijah can handle that all by himself? Nah. Like, all of us as a church, this is what we do. So we understand it ain't talking about his tabernacle where he dwell, period. But this is where he's set up now in this time that we in for us to come in fellowship. You see what I'm saying? So this is where all of us as saints take care of God's business. You see what I'm saying? Like, the church bought them new speakers right there. We had some busted speakers a few weeks ago. They didn't work, right? We got some brand new ones right there. Church took care of that. You see what I'm saying? But it got to be done because it's for the ministry. But I can't call somebody and be like, well, I got some corn, I got some greens, I got some cantaloupes that I want to give you because we need some speakers. You see what I'm saying? I can't do that. So you can't do that either. You can't try to put, you know, fruit inside the donation thing. You see what I'm saying? So it changed with time. And this is why he's talking about, you know, putting wages into a bag with holes in it. He said, he that earn wages to put into a bag with holes. What else?
Thus said the Lord of hosts. Consider your ways.
Keep reading.
Go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house. And I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, said the Lord.
Go ahead.
You look for much, and lo, it came to little.
Right, because it's taking you right back to Malachi chapter 3. Like, you done set up here and rob God and tithes and offerings. He told you, bring the meat into my storehouse. That it might be meat in my house. But we ain't trying to take care of his house. Like, and if you look around in the Bible, like certain places in the Bible, they will actually do that for real. They will bring stuff into the storehouse and they keep it up for the priests. So in Malachi, he let them know y'all ain't even doing it. In this place right here, he looking at, they ain't even trying to build him a house. So it's always been a problem with us, you know, either coming up off money to deal with the church or bringing in food to deal with the priests where they have something to eat or, you know, anything. It's always been a problem. But we can take care of our own stuff, though. And this is what he's saying. He's saying you look for much and lo, it came to little. You done worked your butt off. You put in overtime, you like, man, I'm going to get paid $1,500 next Friday. Boy, I done put in overtime. Next thing you know, somebody done. No, not somebody. The transmission done fell out the car. When I say fell out, I mean fell out. Yesterday, I seen the dude come across the railroad tracks in Jonesboro, fell out. The transmission fell out, man. No, it wasn't a transmission. It was what's that thing that spin under the car? No, the thing that hook it. Not the CV, the U-vert. What is it called? I think that's the thing that run up under the car. Man, it fell out, man. The whole thing just dropped down. I'm sitting there like, oh man. Traffic everywhere too, man. I'm just sitting like, wow, man. But I remember some time, man, the Lord had busted me upside my head, man, and stuff like that. I remember when I first started cutting grass. About 10 years ago when I first got off into that, man. I'll be not doing what I'm supposed to do, man. I'll go out to a property. That's when I couldn't afford all the commercial stuff I got. But, you know, back then I was just starting out, man, and I go to somebody's house, man, my junk would break down right on their property. And I sit there and just want to cry, man. It's like, man, I'm getting hit left and right. Like, what in the world is going on, man? I'm counting my day. How can I make this amount? I make this amount. Okay, by Friday I can get this. I'll be straight. I have money for this. And the lawnmower just don't work no more. I'm sitting there like, what in the world, man? I should have never started this business. It was embarrassing. I knocked the door like, hey, man, I got to come back. I know, be like, this nigga here is ghetto. You know? But that was the Lord busting me upside my head, man, you know. And that's what he said. That's what he's saying. He said, you look for much, and Lord came to little. And when you brought it home, what he did?
Let me see.
Middle in the verse 9. He said, you look for much, and the Lord came to little.
He blew on it.
And he said, I did blow upon it. You brought it home, and I blew on it. You got all that money. You coming home, like I told you, man, I'm out there working. I'm happy, man. I'll be straight. I can make this amount today. And you just blow on it. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And then you get to a point you know it's God. You know what, Lord, I'm sorry. What am I doing wrong? Just show me, correct me from my ways. And then you be consistent to our serving him. Then he'll bless you, you know. But don't try to rob him, though. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to put yourself before him and forget about the things that he needs done. Because he's a jealous God. You know, people don't understand that, like, we serve a God that he'll, you know, he gonna get back at you. He ain't gonna just let you ride like that. He gonna, you think you can just escape and you go down about 2-3 months and ain't nothing happening out of nowhere. You know, you may just, like I say, the dude who called yesterday, man, he just embarrassed, man. He just dropped the thing in the middle of the road, man. He just sitting there, coming right across the railroad track, going to Clay County, Jonesboro. Come right across the, it was the U joint. Came right across the road track, and the thing just fell right there by the train track. And there's a lot of traffic going through there, and I was just like shaking my head, like, wow, man, that's crazy. You know, but sometimes, you know, Lord will do things to kind of shake you up and humble you. You know, but always check yourself, though, and see where you're falling short at. And you may not be falling short, you know. It may just be something to, you know, learn how to say, okay, well, hey, I just got to trust God. But he said, you look for much, and Lord came to little, and when you brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why?
Why, said the Lord of hosts? Because of mine house that is waste.
He said, hey, look, I did it because my house that is waste. He said, why did you blow on it? Why, saith the Lord of hosts? Because of mine house that is waste. What else?
And you run every man unto his own house.
Right, so everybody concerned about their own stuff. You're concerned about your own business. Don't want to bring your time to the storehouse. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to take care of what the Lord has set aside to take care of. Then listen, I ain't going to take care of you. And then eventually you realize I can't beat God. Let me go ahead and just do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? If things don't work out my way, it's cool. I got faith in God, but I took care of God, though. I did what I was supposed to do pertaining to him and his business. So he said, what? I did blow upon it. Why, saith the Lord of hosts? Because of mine house that is waste, and ye run every man unto his own house. All right, so now go to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Got a long mustache here. 2 Corinthians chapter 9. And Paul telling them when he get there, be ready, go and have everything put up for him when they get there as far as the bound is concerned, whatever they putting aside for the church. Just have it ready when I get there. Go ahead and read verse 6, though.
But this I say, which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly.
So he said, whoever want to give a little bit, they're going to reap a little bit. That's why I say, but this I say, he which sow sparingly shall reap also sparingly. Keep reading.
And he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully.
That's right. So listen, if you give a lot, hey, you're going to reap a lot. And like, listen, like I said, we don't go here to make nobody give. It was just a question posed, and we just dealing with it, you know. But it said if you reap, you sow bountifully, you're gonna reap also bountifully. But and one reason we have to make that disclaimer because, you know, we were brought up in church in a system of they use these places right here. Malachi 3 and 6. Wherefore will a man rob God and tithe and offering? I'm telling you, every Sunday, I would hear this as a child. Malachi 3, and I would hear 2 Corinthians chapter 9. They have a woman come up there. The church will sing a choir. They'll march in. You know, we had prayer for about 30 minutes. It was on Sunday. Had a prayer for 30 minutes, and then, you know, they might start shouting and stuff. And then after prayer, the lady come up there and read these Malachi 3 and 6, and then 2 Corinthians 9. You know what I'm saying? They read that with the music playing in the background. And then the choir starts singing, and you know what's next. We're going to walk around that table, ain't we? Earlier, you know, the table was passed across the seats. I mean, the plate passed across the seats, you know. But it was introduced to us as far as giving is concerned with Malachi 3 and 2 Corinthians chapter 9. So that's why I'm making this disclaimer to make sure everybody understand, no, we ain't doing this because we want to get no money. We're doing this because Brother Justin asked a question about Malachi chapter 3. And it's sad we have to do this, but the world has made merchandise of the people. And that's the last thing we're concerned about. We ain't concerned about making merchandise of nobody. We're concerned about you getting understanding and, you know, and getting yourself into the kingdom. But it's in here for a reason. It came about before Levi even came into the picture. Tithing was around during the time of Abraham and Melchizedek. That's why when Abraham met Melchizedek, after he had got the spoils, he gave what? He paid tithe and all. He paid a tenth of what he had taken. You know. But Levi wasn't even on the scene, sisters and brothers. And forever who's online. So he said, but what? What he say in verse 7?
Every man according as he purposed in his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity.
Right. So now Paul's saying, listen, have everything ready when I get there, because I'm on the move. Paul, you know, he going around dealing with churches or whatever. So you know he ain't talking about crops right here, though. You see what I'm saying? He ain't talking about they can't take this traveling with him. It's something that, you know, being put up, because he also was dealing with other churches, just like we're doing now. We have other churches that are set up. You know, we have smaller churches that, you know, we don't have to do anything like as far as, you know, coming to get it or nothing like that. You can pay online. You know what I'm saying? You can donate online or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever goes in there, we count it, we take it to the bank. You know, but if the church needs something, you know, brother been putting in, guess what? He's falling on hard times. Well, he done invested in the church. The church gonna, you know, put back into him. That's why I tell people, like, listen, we don't really do too many giveaways. Because, like, that's for the church. Not saying that we don't love the world, but that's for the church. I might be better off helping you out of my own pocket than for us to give you stuff that's for the church. But brother been sitting up here going through some stuff, and he needs some money with his help with his light bill. Well, guess what? He done put in, so that's what that's for, to help out the church. It ain't for us to take the money and give to the poor and give out to the homeless in the world. I'd be better off giving you something out of my own pocket. You see what I'm saying? Because you never know when that member or that brother that's going to church that's been faithfully helping the church stay afloat, when he gonna need something. You know, so that's how that works. I don't want anybody to think we just help the poor. Nah, we help the poor. I just ain't finna take the money that our poor people have in the church and give it to the poor people out there. Because when it's all said and done, if somebody need help in the church, we're helping the poor people out there. We can't help the brother in the church, the sister in the church, then they both gonna be on the street. That just don't make sense though. That's how it does. Because hey, if you helping out with the church, it's gonna go toward what needs to be done. But this is what was going on with Paul. That's why I was telling them, when I get there, y'all just had a bounty already ready. I ain't got to stop. It's already done. But it explains to them, if you give in a good manner, hey, you're going to reap good. You give sparingly, you're going to reap sparingly. Then he says, every man according as he has purpose in his heart, so let him give. Not what?
Not grudgingly.
Oh, so don't have a problem with it now. You know, not grudgingly, or what else?
Or of necessity.
Right, so like you just feel like you just have to do it, like it's a burden. Don't give, listen, if that's the case, you might as well keep it. That's one reason we don't even preach about it. Because it don't matter to us either way. God's operation is going to function no matter what. And if you're preaching to the people, giving them the word, they're already going to see what the book say. You see? And you think about it, maybe why they preach so much about money in the church, because they ain't preaching the word. And they know people ain't falling for that nonsense. Like, that's why God even said, why spend your money for that which is not bread? Like, money ain't just come around in our time. That's the case when it said in Isaiah 55. It said, why spend your money for that which is not bread? Why you going to church and you sitting up here spending money, paying tithes and off, and you ain't getting nothing? It should be an exchange. You go to the grocery store, you get some food, don't you? You get them some money, they give you some food back. You go to church, you give them some money, but you ain't getting nothing.
Entertainment.
That's all you getting is entertainment. You getting an R. Kelly show. That's all you get. You get a little motivational speech. It's seduction. That's what it is. They turn the lights down low. Turn it down real low. And they play that soft music. Then the preacher come out there and say something. He go back and they turn the soft music on again. It's just nothing but seduction. And they just give you that money. That's all it is. That's all they talk about because they ain't preaching nothing. But he says, so let them give not grudgingly of a necessity, for God love a cheerful giver. Go ahead and read. What else? Verse 8.
And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work.
Right, so Lord going to make sure you straight, though. But go ahead and skip down to verse 10. What it say?
Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both minister bread for you, for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness.
Start at verse 9. What it say?
As it is written, he had dispersed abroad, he had given to the poor, his righteousness remaineth forever.
Keep reading.
Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both
same when I get that seed to the sower, do what?
Both minister bread for your food.
Hey, the Lord, man, he going to make sure you good, though. He both minister bread for your food and what else?
And multiply your seed sown.
Keep reading.
And increase the fruits of your righteousness.
Right, so that's in parentheses. So Paul just kind of went in depth, kind of explained it a little bit. In other words, you're going to be straight. Hey, God, he can take care of you just like he take care of the next man. All right? What it say in verse 11?
Being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth through us thanksgiving to God. For the administration of this service not only supplieth the want of the saints.
Right, but notice what he was doing, though. He wasn't taking money for himself, though, right? He say what? For the administration of this service not only supply the want of the saints. You know, like I say, listen, when these small churches start off like Jacksonville, you know, that started off, I think, what, going on 2 years now? But they in a hotel. They couldn't support themselves down there. But who you think you got to take care of that? Everybody else is involved in that now, helping out the run. You know, North Carolina getting ready to open up. Hey, who you think will be? Everybody else? Hey, the church as a whole gonna be taking care of that. But it's for the saints, though. You see, because you got different people waking up. Different people need the word. Got to put these locations in different places to get the word out. But the saints and the church is the one that's going to cause this operation to run. So I say for the administration of this service, not only supply the wants of the saints, but what?
But is abundant.
But it's abundant what?
Also by many thanksgivings unto God.
So it's going to do what it's supposed to do if we do our job. All right, but come on up to Marcus.
I had a question, too.
Okay. You want to switch readers? You want to let Jason come up?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You got your phone on, Marcus? Okay. I think I did 3 in-house. So it's it's two online now. You got how we gonna do extension cords right now? Yeah, right here. Oh, no problem, man. It's a class within itself.
I was actually going to put that in my class for next week. I want to make sure I know what I was talking about first.
Yeah. But on the plane B? Oh, Jacksonville. Oh, you up again? In Jacksonville? Oh, okay. They're trying to get you ready. Trying to get you ready, man. Oh, that's the team there. Oh, man. Hold this right. Run this under. Yeah, you might might just have to put it in your pocket. You know, right there. You gotta get another one of those. Another reading mic. Hey, the speakers first. Let me get the reading mic next.
Is you?
Is it open? If it's not open, you got it.
Okay. It's another one, huh? Open.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Hmm?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'll take another one though. So we online questions right now, or we in house?
Yeah. How you gonna do it? I know it's something on there.
What you just dealt with Justin question, right?
Yeah. And I dealt with 3 and out.
Okay, so we'll go online then. What we on? We at the top on in house, or I mean, we on the top online, or?
I think
The last question was
I think Cheryl Battle.
24 and 20, right?
Okay.
Where's the jump?
Let me see yours and mine ain't here.
I think we're right here. Cheryl Battle. You take mine.
For that? I'm looking at the time. 6:57 is.
He already got these 3. We stopped here, so Cheryl Battle.
Cheryl Battle.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh, okay. All right. Dang, why I ain't seeing that? All right.
You can take mine.
All right. 5:38. Okay. Can you explain? You sure that's it? Because Gay Jesus got deleted. Well, okay. I mean, we'll deal with it. He answered Reggie though, right?
Yeah, he did.
Esther 8 and 7. All right. So the question. All right. So the question, can you explain Esther chapter 8, verse 17? We'll read the 17th verse, and then we'll, if we need to read further up, that's what we'll do. So Esther 8 and verse 17, you can go ahead and read it, bro.
And in every province, and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
Okay. We're going to read it, but this talking about when Haman, if I'm not mistaken, he set a decree to kill all the Jews. And we'll read it. That's what we'll do. We'll read from the top. But it was a decree set forth, and the decree that was set forth was to kill all the Jews, and the decree didn't come to pass. And, it was joy in the land. And like it said in the bottom of that, it says, and many of the people in the land became Jews for the fear of the Jews, because the king, Ahasuerus, he had actually told the Jews
to go out and slaughter. Well, you know what? Let's just read it. Let's just read it, and it'll explain the whole gambit as to what actually took place. So let's pick it up at let's go up to I'm talking about Exodus. Esther chapter 8, and we'll start at verse 1. Esther chapter 8 and verse 1. When you get it, you can go ahead and read it, bro.
On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews enemy until Esther the queen.
Go ahead.
And Mordecai became before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
Keep going.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai.
Now, Mordecai was the uncle of Esther. And Haman, you know, he was kind of envious over Mordecai. But, you know, Ahasuerus had went back and read the Chronicles, you know, as far as in like events that had took place or that had occurred. And in the Chronicles, he read a report pertaining to Mordecai. Because Mordecai, you know, the cousin of Esther, the uncle of Esther, he actually, you know, kind of like saved the king's life. Because he had brought up accusations about, you know, 2 men was trying to kill him. And, you know, the king had got wind of this, but he didn't actually know who actually linked him the information. And that's why he had to go back and read in the Chronicles. And I think that's in the 7th chapter, or maybe in the 6th chapter. But now we're looking at chapter 8 and verse 1, talking about, you know, Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what was unto him, because there was a report pertaining to Haman, how, you know, Haman was, you know, being slick behind the king's back to try and exterminate all the Jews. But keep reading though, verse 2.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai.
So he had already crowned Haman. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't crown him, but he gave him a ring. You know what I mean? As to kind of being like, you know, second in command. But he took this ring back from Haman and gave it unto Mordecai. Go ahead.
And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Go ahead.
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther.
Where you at?
Verse 4.
Okay, go ahead.
So Esther arose and stood before the king, and said, If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha?
Yeah, I guess.
Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's province.
So this was a decree that was written. And the decree that was written, and this is, you know, the kingdom doing the Medes and the Persians. This was the kingdom. So, you know, the decree, you know, once you write a decree, the decree can't be reversed. The only one who can reverse it is the king. So now, you know, they're asking, can they reverse this decree? And what I was looking for, I wanted to go back in. Let's go over here to, hold on for a second. I want to take you back to what was the decree pertaining to. Haman hanged. Let's go over here to Mordecai mourns, Esther appears, and the king. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther has said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet of Esther. Bank of wine. Okay, let's go to chapter 4. Let's go to chapter 4 and let's look at this decree and let's see. I mean, because chapter 4 is gonna, you know, it's actually coinciding to what took place in 8 and 17. I mean, the decree was to kill the Jews, and that's what we finna read. So let's pick it up at chapter 4 and verse 1. So we just looking at the decree right here. What's the sister name? or brother. I don't like to use what phone, so let me get a phone.
Cheryl Battle.
Okay. Miss Battle or Sister Battle, we're gonna go back over here to chapter 4. And we're looking at the decree that was written to have the Jews killed. And it's gonna explain why, chapter 8 and verse 17 was, why it was such a joyous period. So let's pick it up, chapter 4 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it, bro.
When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
Go ahead.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province, whithersoever the king commandment, and with his decree came there was a great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
I'm sorry. Chapter 3 and verse 11, verse 10. Chapter 3 and verse 10, because this Mordecai, he just got wind of the decree. That's why I said in verse 1, he rent his clothes and he put sackcloth and ashes, up on his head. So he just got wind of the decree. So now in chapter 3 and verse 10, we're going to take a look at the decree. Go ahead and read it, bro.
And the king took his ring from his hand, and gave it into Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
So he just gave the ring to Haman. And it just said what? In verse 10, it says the Jews' enemy. So now, Ahasuerus just gave the ring unto Haman, and he also told Haman, hey, do it with the people as thou pleasest. Go ahead, verse 12.
Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring.
So this decree was written and sealed with his ring. But keep reading though, verse 13.
And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces, to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
So this was a decree that, Haman had conjured up to get the king to sign off on it. And this decree was to have all the Jews exterminated. That's what we read right here in the 13th verse. So go ahead, verse 14.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people.
Go ahead.
That they should be ready against that day.
So against that day, the 13th day in the 12th month, all the Jews, males, females, children, old, they all going to be killed. So this decree was published throughout all the province. And it says what? That they should be ready against that day. 15, go ahead.
The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan, the palace.
Go ahead. And
the king of Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Shushan was perplexed.
So the city of Shushan, they was perplexed. That's pertaining to the Jews. Because they got wind of this decree that they was all to be exterminated on the 13th day in the 12th month. Now let's jump over here to chapter 8. I'm sorry, we can start at chapter 7, and we're going to see the decree being reversed. Because now Ahasuerus, he actually got wind of, the whole plot that was going on. And Esther, she had to go before the king. Well, you know what? Let's jump to chapter 4. Yeah, let's just read it. We ain't got much online. So let's just read it. Let's pick it up at chapter 4 and verse 1. Now we're going to see why you know, the uncle rent his clothes. Go ahead.
When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes, and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
Go ahead.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
Go ahead.
And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
So everybody laying in sackcloth and ashes pertaining to the Jews, because they know their clock is ticking to be exterminated. So you know Mordecai, he rent his clothes, and he wearing sackcloth and ashes. Verse 3, go ahead.
Verse 4?
Yeah, I'm sorry, verse 4.
So Esther's maid and his chamberlains came and told it to her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him. But he received it not.
Go ahead.
Then called Esther for Hathach, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai, to know what it was, and why it was. So Hathach went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman promised to pay the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them.
So you know Haman, he had money to pay to have these Jews exterminated. But you know the king had already signed off on this. So what we reading now is we actually reading everything in between the lines to actually get an understanding on what actually took place. And now when we see chapter 8 and 17, we'll understand, you know, why that was such a joyous moment, because we're going to continue to read and see, you know, who set the decree, why was the decree reversed, and now that decree being reversed, who was going to fall on the bad side of the coin. So we see right here is that what Haman had promised to pay the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them. What it say in verse 8?
Also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan, to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go into the king.
Skip down to verse. You finish that up?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, go ahead and keep reading. And then when you're done with that, skip down to 13.
All right. To make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people.
So now Esther, she's to go before the king. You know, now there was an actual law saying that, hey, you can't go before the king unless the king summon for you. You can't just pop up. You know, because if you just pop up, then the king can have you killed. So, you know, this was a letter, or they was at what it said in at the bottom of verse 8, it says, and to make supplication unto her and to make requests before him for her people. So, you know, they was asking her to go before the king to have this decree reversed, where everybody knew the rule pertaining to you approaching the king and not being summoned is that there's a possibility that you could be killed. So now skip down to verse 13 and read that. I'm sorry, read 11. Go ahead.
All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come into the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out of the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
Now that's Esther. You know, letting Mordecai know us that, look here, I haven't been called to the king these 30 days. Now you know the consequences that if I go before the king unannounced and he don't point unto me the golden scepter, that I could be killed. You do know this. This is what Esther is playing back out unto her uncle. Skip down to verse 16 and read that though.
Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day.
So we see that fasting is what? Pertaining to no food, water, or meat for 3 days. So she asking the Jews, hey, y'all fast for me for 3 whole days without No water or no food. Go ahead.
I also and my maidens will fast likewise.
Go ahead.
And so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
Skip down to verse, well, skip into chapter 5. Well, you know what? Let's just get right to it. Skip over to chapter. So we see is that in the 4th chapter, we see, conversation between Esther and Mordecai, her uncle. And, her uncle is trying to get her to go before the king to have this decree reversed. Because we've seen in chapter 3 is that Haman, he now has this ring. They don't seal the covenant or the decree that was set. And now the Jews are supposed to be exterminated on the 13th day of the 12th month. So now let's go over here to chapter 6. And let's pick it up at verse 1. And we're going to skip into chapter 7, and then chapter 8 and 17 should make a whole lot of sense. So chapter 6 and verse 1, when you get it, go ahead and read it, bro.
On that night could not the king sleep.
Go ahead.
And he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king.
Now, the Chronicles are like events that took place. You know what I mean? Records. So, like now, the king, he couldn't sleep. He troubled. So now, he's summoned for the Chronicles to be brought before him so they could be read. What is it in verse 2?
And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on King Ahasuerus.
Go ahead.
And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai
so
for
he
this?
asking, like, what honor or what dignity has been done to Mordecai for this act? You know what I mean? He brought wind to the king that, hey, you had 2 chamberlains that was thinking about putting their hands on you. But the king never got wind of who actually gave him this intel. Keep reading, though.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him.
So there's nothing done for this Mordecai. Keep reading, verse 4.
And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
So Ahasuerus was going to actually hang Mordecai. But Haman was the one that had all this done. Haman was the one that wanted Mordecai to be hung because Mordecai wouldn't bow down to Haman when he was announced. Whatever Ahasuerus had awarded him with, Mordecai wouldn't acknowledge the fact that, he was set up over the province. So Haman, he kind of felt a certain way behind that. So he plotted to have Mordecai hanged. But what is it in verse 5, though?
And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than myself? And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear.
Go ahead.
And the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head.
So this is all going to be done to Mordecai. Because Mordecai, reading back in the Chronicles, what? He had told about the 2 chamberlains that was actually thinking about putting their hands on the king. So now this is his reward that he's rewarding Mordecai with. But keep reading, though.
And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
So we see how all of this is playing out. We see that what? Esther, she was afraid to go before the king. She was afraid to go before the king unannounced, so she had all the Jews to fast and pray of the outcome that would take place as to when she go before the king. But look, we even see now how you know, the power of God is actually working. Because we see what? The king was troubled in his sleep. He went back to read the Chronicles, and he saw inside the Chronicles that Mordecai, you know what? He looked out for him. Now Mordecai is looked like being set up over Haman. Haman was the one who actually decreed that all the Jews be exterminated on the 13th day of the 12th month. But we looking at this decree slowly turning. So we see now what? Mordecai has now been crowned with the crown. He's now riding up on a horse. So in other words, he's been decked by the king Ahasuerus. So skip down to chapter 7 now. Chapter 7. And what you got to do is, sis, is you got to, you know, just go back and read. You know, read the whole book pertaining to Esther. And it, you know, it'll make verse 17 in the 8th chapter very clear. You know, so we see is that a decree was set for the Jews to be exterminated. We see is that now the decree looked like it's slowly being reversed, but we're looking at how and why was it reversed. So now we're going to get into chapter 7, and it'll continue to bring it on home. So pick it up at chapter 7 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it, bro.
So the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen.
Go ahead.
And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee.
So now this is Ahasuerus, you know, asking Esther, you know, like, hey, what is your petition? Because Ahasuerus, you know, he had favor in Esther. You know, he was a king that had favor pertaining to Esther, and this was the one that he was going to, set her up as queen. So now he's like, hey, whatever you ask or whatever you petition, it shall be granted to thee. Go ahead.
And what is our request?
Go ahead.
And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
Keep reading.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Go ahead.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
Now we talking about Haman, you know, him being the enemy, but keep reading though.
Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he, and where is he, that durst presume in his heart to do so?
Go ahead.
And Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
Go ahead.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
So Haman, he was afraid. Because now, you know, his skirt been pulled up. You know, we realizing is that, hey, you know, his whole plot was evil from the jump. So now Esther got the ear of the king Ahasuerus pertaining to this very matter about the Jews being exterminated. Now she's letting king know that, hey, this guy Haman, you know, what he did, it was kind of wicked to have my people killed for nothing. But keep reading though.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden, and Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther, the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
So he know that the king was at his neck. But go ahead, verse 8.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
So Haman, he begging now. He begging for his life because he know his life lies in the hand of Queen Esther. So he laying on her bed begging for his life. Go ahead.
Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Go ahead.
And Harabna, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, Behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai.
Now you see this whole gallows, he set up Mordecai to be hung. Now look at the conversation pertaining to him being hung, but go ahead.
Which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
So hang Haman thereon. Verse 10.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
So his wrath was pacified. It was soothed because what? He had Haman killed instead of Mordecai. So now let's go into chapter 8 and verse 1. And let's get to the 17th verse now. So chapter 8 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read it, bro.
On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews, enemy unto Esther the queen.
Go ahead.
And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
Keep reading.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
So Mordecai, the uncle, he was set over the house of Haman. He got the ring in his hand now. But what is it in verse 3?
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews.
Go ahead.
Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king.
Keep reading.
And said, If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the king seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, which he had wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces.
So now you know Esther's asking for the decree to be reversed. And check out what King Ahasuerus has to say about this. Go ahead.
For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred?
Now he talking about, his people. So he like, how can I, come? He said, how can I see evil that shall come into my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? This the king talking this, but go ahead.
Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther, the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ahasuerus was what? A Persian. Or he might have been over the Medians. But he wasn't a Jew. But he immediately like, what? These are my people. I can't see evil done unto them. So he said what? The king Ahasuerus said unto Esther, the queen, to Mordecai, the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him that have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. But what does it say in verse 8, though?
Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name, and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse.
So no man can reverse it, but this decree was reversed. But keep reading, though, verse 9.
Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is, the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day.
Now this decree that he was just saying in verse 8, he was just saying it's like, once I reverse it, it can't be reversed again. So this ring was to seal that deal. So now we see what in verse 9 it says, and then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that it was the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof. Go ahead.
And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and the deputies, and the rulers of the provinces, which are from India, from Ethiopia unto Ethiopia, 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to the writing, and according to their language.
So the decree was set out throughout, 120 provinces. That the decree that Haman had put forth, it was reversed. So the Jews wasn't to be exterminated on the 13th day of the 12th month. But something was put inside of this new decree. Let's see what it was. What it said in verse 10.
And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and your dromedaries.
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 Go ahead.
wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
So we see is that with inside of the decree being reversed, we see is that what? Ahasuerus granted the Jews to do what? It says what? To slay. It says for to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them. So those that was actually willing to take part in this decree to have the Jews exterminated on the 13th day of the 12th month, guess what? King Ahasuerus said, we're going to reverse that. Now all the Jews, y'all go out and kill all those that was conjuring up against y'all to exterminate y'all. But what? And then it said what? To take spoil of them for their prey. But what it said in verse 12 though?
Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar.
Go ahead.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people.
So this was a commandment given by the king. And it was published into all of the province as to what was to take place pertaining to this decree. Keep reading though.
And that the Jews should be ready against the day to avenge themselves on their enemies.
So they was ready against the day to avenge themselves. That's inside the decree, to avenge your adversaries or your enemies, to kill them. Go ahead, verse 14.
So the post that rode upon the mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment, and the decree was given at Shushan, the place, the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king, in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad.
Go ahead.
The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor.
Verse 17.
And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
So for the fear of the Jews fell upon them, for the fear of, them being slaughtered by the Jews, it fell upon them. But, that was just a joyous moment. That was something that took place, and it says what? The king's commandment and his decree came, and the Jews had joy and gladness. So they was glad of this event that took place, is that the decree was reversed. And all we see is that the Jews was set out to avenge their enemies. So to read all of that says, that's what you would have had to have done. So he just did it for you. But, that's really what that 17th verse was pertaining to. You do your phone.
You hit the button.
Hit what button?
That one button right here in the middle.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is about to get these jump. All right, bro. All right, peace. About to get these jumper cables attached to your face. I probably shouldn't have read that out loud, Jonathan.
He said his name.
I know, huh? I did that part on bro. All right. Okay, so I think my phone caught up from that part. I got that part right now. But my phone about to die, so I'm gonna use you in a second. Right. Israel's daughters. It says, I have two questions. First one, what made the Lord kill the Midianites in Numbers 31? Okay. All right, what made the Lord kill the Midianites in Numbers 31? All right.
You have a charger?
Hmm?
You have a charger?
My wife, she got it. I don't know what she did with it. It was in her purse. But
there's one outside on top of the dresser.
It's all black?
That was green, but it's an Android charger.
Numbers 31.
All right, so the question is, why did the Lord have the Midianites killed? I think she in Numbers 31 and verse 7. But we'll start at verse 5, though. No, let's start at verse 1. Numbers 31 and verse 1. You go ahead and read, bro.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people.
Go ahead.
And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to the war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war.
Go ahead.
And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites, as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian, Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword.
Let's go over here to let's jump back. Let's jump back to chapter 25. Chapter 25. Let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get it, yeah, go ahead and read, bro.
And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
Go ahead.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat, and bowed down to their gods. And Israel joined himself into Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
So the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel is because we see that Israel, they committed whoredom with the daughters of Moab. They was committing both spiritual and physical whoredom. So it says in verse 2, what? They called the people unto the sacrifice of their gods, and the people did eat and bow down to their gods. So Israel bowed down to their gods. But what is saying in verse 3, though?
And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
So the Lord was angry with Israel. But what is saying in verse 4?
And the Lord said unto Moses, Take all the heads of the people, and hang them before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel.
So the Lord told Moses to go through the camp and kill them. The ones that bowed themselves to the gods of Moab and hang their faces before the sun. But what is it in verse 5?
And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, Slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor.
So every man that was joined unto Baal Peor, kill him. Go ahead.
And, behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses.
So apparently he must have didn't get the memo. Because he looked like he just freelancing with a daughter of the Midianites. But he bought this woman before Moses, as if like it was okay. Apparently it was, because they was all seemed like having just a big party with the daughters of Moab. But keep reading though, what it say?
And in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who are weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Go ahead.
And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation, and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent, and thrust both of them through the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel.
So the Lord was going to plague Israel if this hadn't occurred. Like if they just would have allowed this to take place in the eyes of God, like the Lord was going to allow Israel to be plagued. But what it says is that what? And it says he thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through the belly, so that the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. Verse 9, go ahead.
And those that died in the plague were 20 and 4,000.
Keep reading.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel.
So what Phinehas had did, shoot, he turned away the wrath of God. Because if he hadn't went through and thrust both the Israelite and the Midianitish woman through, like the plague was going to plague Israel and kill them. Because we see what in verse 9, it says what? Those that died of the plague was what? 24,000. So 24,000 people died from God killing them. So now we see God saying what? Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel. Go ahead.
While he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy.
Go ahead, verse 12.
Wherefore say, Behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace.
So I gave, now I make a covenant of peace because of Phinehas. Sacrificing, these individuals so that the plague would stay away from Israel. What does it say in verse 13, though?
And he shall have it, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God, and made an atonement for the children of Israel.
Go ahead, verse 14.
Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianitish woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, a prince of a chief house among the Simeonites.
So he was what? It says he was among the chief. He was among the prince of the chief, meaning like he wasn't just no ordinary Israelite. He was of the chief he was the prince of the chief of the house among the Simeonites. But what does it say in 15 though?
And the name of the Midianitish woman that was slain was Cosbi, the daughter of Zor. He was head over a people and of a chief house in Midian.
So even her father, he was chief as well. But keep reading, verse 16.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Vex the Midianites and smite them.
So this is the cause behind why, we came here. Because we see is that what? The daughters of Moab caused Israel to commit whoredom, both physically and spiritually. We saw the spiritual aspect as to what? Them bound down and serving their gods. Now we seen the physical aspect of what? The Israelite who was of the Simeonites, he was going in the tent to lie with the Midianitish woman. And what? Phinehas went and killed both of them. So now we see God saying what? Vex the Midianites and smite them. Go ahead.
For they vex you with their wiles, wherewith they have beguiled you in the matter of Peor.
Go ahead.
And in the matter of Cosbi, the daughter of the prince of Midian, their sister, which was slain in the day of the plague for Peor's sake.
So this is the reason why, in Numbers chapter 31, why God, warred against the Midianites and was having them killed is because, from what we're reading is that, they was causing Israel to commit whoredom. And the Lord said, what, in 17, vex the Midianites and smite them. But let's go one more place though. Let's go over to Genesis real quick. You got something, bro? Okay, I see you standing up. I ain't know if you were probably just stretching your legs. Okay. But Genesis 34. Hold on for a second. I'm just looking at it. No, that's it. You got anything, Brother Nate? Okay. All right. You got something? What's your name again, bro?
Chris.
Chris. You said you were scratching your legs, right? Oh, okay. All right. Nobody in-house? Anybody in-house got anything? All right, we'll just keep dealing with online. If anybody got anything, just, throw a hand up or something. All right, second question, Israel's daughter. Can we read somewhere about the reestablishment of the Midianites that led to there being a population to be warred against in Judges 6 and 7? Judges chapter 6 and verse 7. Let's go and look at that. Okay, so let me read your question again. Let me make sure. I think I comprehended it, but let me make sure. It says, can we read somewhere about the reestablishment of the Midianites that led to there being a population to be warred against in Judges 6 through 7? No, I don't get it. Because, I mean, I see what I'm thinking, because I see is that in Judges chapter 6, is that God delivered the children of Israel into the hand of the Midianites. And then in chapter 7, I know that Israel was set up to, pick, choose those that was men of valor to join the army. And if those that, it says, everyone that lap over the water with his tongue as a dog, him shall thou set by himself. I see in 6 how the Lord delivered Israel into the hands of the Midianites. Then I see in chapter 7 how, Israel was set up to choose their army and how they was going to pick particular men. But I don't understand your question as far as in like the reestablishment. You understand that, Brother Nate? You want to weigh in on that, or?
I'm reading numbers now. I'm gonna go over to what's the name? See what she's talking about. But see if she can reword.
Okay. Sister Israel, can you reword your question, please? Layman's terms for me, so I can comprehend it a little bit better. Until you do that, we're gonna go to water of life. All right. So it says, peace. What does 3 measures of meal mean? Luke chapter 13. Luke 13. You see what I'm talking about, Justin? Yeah. Luke 13 and 20. Okay. All right, so you asking on what does 3 measures of meal to the whole earth? Okay. I mean, this means measurements, But we'll read it though, Let's pick it up at 18. 18. And you can go ahead and read 13 and 18. Go ahead, bro.
Then said he, unto what is the kingdom of God like? And whereunto shall I resemble it?
So Jesus coming with this parable. And and the question pertaining to the parable is like what? Unto what is the kingdom of God like? And whereunto shall I resemble it? Go ahead, verse 19.
It is like a grain of a mustard seed, which a man took, and cast into his garden, and it grew, and waxed a great tree, and the fowls of the air lodged in the branches of it.
Go ahead.
And again he said, whereunto shall I liken the kingdom of God?
Keep reading.
It is like leaven, which a woman took, and hid in 3 measures of a meal, till the whole was leavened.
To the whole was leavened. But keep going, though, because I think Jesus in this same chapter, he's going to explain these parables. And if not, we'll come back and we'll deal with it. But I'd rather let Jesus do it if he got it in here, though. But go ahead, verse 22.
And he went through the cities and villages, teaching and journeying toward Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
Then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And he said unto them, strive to enter in at the strait.
So Jesus, like, a question came unto him asking, strive to enter. But the question that was asked to him was like, are there few that be saved? And he said, strive to enter into the strait gate. Go ahead.
For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able.
So many, they're going to seek to enter in, but they ain't going to be able to enter. Go ahead, verse 25.
When once the master of the house is risen up, and he hath shut the door, and ye begin to stand without, and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know you not whence ye are.
Go ahead.
Then shall you begin to say, we have eaten and drunk in thy presence, and thou hast taught in our streets. But he shall say, I tell you, I know you not whence ye are. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity.
So the Lord going to tell you to get away from me, those that work iniquity. But, I've been skimming through, and he doesn't actually answer the parable. So, not to look just so deep into it, I'm thinking is that it's just really, how you baking a cake. You're going to bake a cake, and you're going to take the proper measurements of what it's going to take to bake this cake. So that's practically pretty much all he's just saying in this 21st verse, pertaining to, it's like leaven, because we understand we just came off the feast of unleavened bread. We know that leaven rises. We know that unleavened doesn't rise. So, taking 3 measurements of meal, that's going to help this leaven rise. We understand is that what leaven just represents sin, but in this 21st verse, I see it as just really, you just taking the measurements of what it takes to make some cornbread or make a cake. That's how I see it. You got anything, bro?
Now, another place you just talk about a measure of wheat for a penny. So, somebody unit of measurement, that's all.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's practically it, sis. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. Water of life. That's pretty much what it's saying. Just measurements. That's all. You got anything on?
She said she wanted to know where the Midianites come from, since they were all killed in Numbers 31.
Oh, okay. My phone finna die. All right. I'm asking where did these Midianites come from if all the men and male children were killed in 31. Oh, okay. I think I read somewhere where not all of them was killed. I don't think. Cause let's go and look at it. Cause wasn't no, I might be wrong on that one. Okay, let's go back and read that Numbers 31. You know what? Let's go and read on. Yeah, where is that at? Baal Peor. That's in Numbers 2. Yeah, let's go on. Where Israel had on. Because I think he said something about that in there where, you know, he was trying to cause Baal Peor to curse Israel, and it turned into a blessing. And I think he was talking about that. I think it's in Numbers 22. Numbers 22 and let's pick it up at verse 1. Numbers 22 and verse 1. You go ahead and read it, bro.
And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab on this side Jordan by Jericho. And Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was sore afraid of the people, because they were many, and Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, Now shall this company lick up all that are round about us, as the oxen licketh up the grass of the field. And Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of the Moabites at this time.
Go ahead.
He sent messengers therefore unto Balaam, the son of Beor, to Pethor,
Go ahead.
which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying,
So you got the Midianites, they looking at, Israel, as a people of many, and they was afraid. But keep reading though.
Behold, there is a people that come from Egypt. Behold, they cover thy face of the earth, and they abide over against me.
So they abide over against thee. We talking about Israel. Now you got to realize in certain places in the scriptures, they talk about, how God chose Israel being the least of the families of the earth. Meaning like Israel was considered to be small among the nations. But we see right here is that way. It says, behold, they cover the face of the earth and they abide over against me. Go ahead, verse 6.
Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I might drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed.
Go ahead, verse 7.
And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the rewards of divination in their hand. And they came unto Balaam, and spake unto him the words of Balak.
So, Balak trying to get Balaam to curse Israel. So, they came unto Israel, they came unto Balaam. I'm sorry, and it says, and the rewards of divination in their hand, and they came unto Balaam and spake unto the words of Balak. What is it in verse 8?
And he said unto them, Lodge here this night, and I will bring you word again, as the Lord shall speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam.
Go ahead.
And God came unto Balaam, and said, What men are these with thee? And Balaam said unto God, Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, Behold, there is a people come out of Egypt, which covereth thy face of the earth. Come now, curse me them. Peradventure I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out. And God said unto Balaam, Thou shalt not go with them. Thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed.
So the Lord said what? These people blessed. You ain't going to curse them. Skip down to verse 18 and read, because I'm trying to find, I think I saw it in here where, just keep reading. Yeah, let's just keep reading. We'll probably see it. Go ahead, verse 18.
And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, If Balak will give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more.
Go ahead.
Now therefore I pray you, tarry ye also here this night, that I may know what the Lord will say unto me more.
Skip down to verse 23 and read that. Or 22.
And God's anger was kindled because he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his two servants were with him.
Go ahead.
And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way.
So the donkey now, he's seen this angel standing in the way. But keep going.
And his sword drawn in his hand.
So he's seen the angel with the sword in his hand. What did the donkey do?
And the ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way.
Go ahead.
But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on the side, and a wall on that side.
Keep going.
And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself into the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again.
So he don't crush, the donkey don't crush, Balaam's foot. Because Balaam, he trying to go and curse Israel. So now the donkey don't crush his foot against the wall because he see the angel standing in his path. And Balaam smote the donkey again. What is it say in verse 26 though?
And the angel of the Lord went further, and stood in a narrow place, where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left.
So they couldn't go nowhere at this point. Go ahead.
And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with a staff.
Verse 28.
And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass.
So the Lord opened the mouth of the ass. What the ass said, the donkey. Go ahead.
And she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me, and would there were a sword in my hand, for now would I kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam.
That's it on that. Skip over to chapter 23. And I'm just trying to find, I seen it somewhere, because I'm thinking, they didn't kill them all. That's what have had to taken place as to how they came back on the scene. They didn't just magically appear. Because even when you look at, if I'm not mistaken, even when you look at Uriah the Hittite, the Lord, before Uriah the Hittite, before David, the Lord had told Israel to go throughout the land and smite the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites. He told them to go and kill them all. But apparently they didn't kill all of them, because we see Uriah the Hittite, who David took his wife and then had him killed in war. So I just don't think that they killed them all. But let's go back to this Numbers 31 though. Numbers 31. Because what I was trying to do is, and I thought I saw, because I've read this and I thought I saw somewhere where they didn't kill them all. And the Lord was wroth, because I know it took place with Saul. But I'm trying to think, was King Agag, I don't think Agag was a Moabite. Because Moab came out of Lot. That's Lot's seed. You know what I mean? So the Moabites came out of Lot. Agag, I think he was out of the seed of Ham. But even the Moabites, they considered to be Shemitic. They came out of Lot. But I thought, that's why we read the 22nd chapter, because I thought I saw it somewhere as to how Israel didn't kill them all. I don't recall it, but let's just read this 31st chapter and let's see if we can gain something out of it. Because, like I said, I don't think that they killed them all. So let's pick it up at Numbers 31. What's your phone doing? Is it spiraling because it like it's going fast? You see that?
Might be catching up because I had it on pause. There we go.
Oh, okay. So what that mean? Just leave it like that?
Yeah, it's good. Unless you want to play.
Okay. So let's go to Numbers 31 now. Let's just read a little bit of it. We already started at verse 8. Numbers 31 and 8. You can go ahead and read it, bro.
And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword.
Go ahead, verse 9.
And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives, and their little ones, and he took the spoil of their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods.
So you see that? They didn't slay them all. Verse 9 says, and the children of Israel took all the women and Midianite captives. It said the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives and their little ones. So they had little ones. Man, they had little babies. And they took the spoil of all their cattle and all their flocks and their goods. Go ahead. And I see that this, you could probably say this is after the fact, but apparently like that had that possibly could have taken place before this matter. You know what I mean? If we see that Israel took the women and the little ones, then that could have very well took place before this. And that's how we could get to this point as to seeing how did the Midianites come back on the scene. So we see right here in verse 9, and the children of Israel took all the women of Midian and Midian captives and their little ones. What does it say in verse 10 though?
And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the prey, both men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses, and Eleazar the priest, and unto all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho.
Go ahead.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest, and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, Have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor.
Go ahead.
And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord.
So Moses bringing back up the report. Like, man, have you seen what took place with us in Numbers chapter 25? You saw how the Lord killed 24,000 people messing with these people. You know, did you just forget? Y'all saving these women alive? Y'all supposed to kill them. Go ahead.
Now therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that have known a man by lying with him.
So Moses said, man, kill them all. Kill every male among the little ones. You see how that worked, right? You kill off the male, you can't populate that seed anymore. So Moses said, kill all the males, the little ones. Then he also said what? Kill all the women that have lying with man. Kill them. Go ahead.
But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves.
So you got the women who have not known man, meaning they virgins. Like, keep them for yourselves. Because you know when Israel go into that seed, it's now Israel, whether it's a Moabite woman or what. It's now coming out of that woman, Israel. But go ahead, verse 19.
And do ye abide without the camp 7 days. Whosoever have killed any person, and whosoever have touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day.
So that's the law of purification. You know, when you don't came amongst the dead, you got to separate yourself from the camp for 7 days. Verse 21.
And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to the battle, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver,
Let's hit on that. But I just see that, you know, they didn't kill them all. You know, you see how Moses, you know, he bringing back a report pertaining to what happened in the 25th chapter. You know, like Israel felt like, shoot, keep the women and the little ones alive. You know, so I just don't see that they killed them all. Let's go over here and look at Samuel real quick. Let's look at the same event that took place with Saul. You know, and that's what Israel, they'll do. You know, the Lord say kill them. But like, shoot, do they fulfill, you know, the commandment of God? Or do they have some type of mercy? It seemed like they was having some type of mercy on the women and the little ones. That's why they didn't kill them. But Moses came back and reminded them, like, look here, man. This is why we got in trouble the first time. So you know what? Kill all the women. Let's go to Samuel. Kill all the women that have laid with the man and kill off the male seed. Kill them. So let's look at 1 Samuel chapter 16. I'm sorry, 1 Samuel chapter 15. And let's pick it up at verse 1. And we're going to skip. And we doing is we come in here to just see how like God decreed or commanded Saul to kill off a nation of people. And let's see what he did. Go ahead. 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 1. Go ahead, bro.
Samuel also said unto Saul, The Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now, therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came from Egypt.
So we talking about how when Israel came up out of Egypt, you know, the path that they took, they actually took a path right in the midst of the Amalekites. And the Amalekites warred against Israel. But Israel was telling them, like, man, to keep peace, we ain't here for all of that. But they still warred with Israel anyhow. So now the Lord is bringing back up that report. Thus said the Lord of hosts, remember what the Amalekites did to Israel, how he laid wait him in the way when he came up out of Egypt. You can go and read that in Exodus chapter 17. But what is saying in verse 3, though?
Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
So the Lord said, man, kill them all. Kill both the man and the woman and all they beasts. Kill everything that's pertaining to the Amalekites. What is saying in verse 4?
And Saul gathered the people together, and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek, and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Canaanites, Go, depart, get you down from the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them, for you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Canaanites departed from among the Amalekites.
So he said, hey man, let them Canaanites know they did good. They had a good report. Let them know to get from amongst the Amalekites, because we finna kill them. So the Canaanites, they departed. What is saying in verse 7?
And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt.
So it says Saul, what? He smoked them, the Amalekites, from Havilah. So you would think that, all right, shoot, he killed them all. But what it say in verse 9? Skip down to that and read that.
But Saul and the people spared Agag,
go ahead,
and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
So they destroyed everything that was vile, but they spared Agag and the beast. So you see, God said kill everything. But you see what Saul did? Saul took matters into his own hand. Now, I'm not saying this is what took place in Numbers 31, but we did see a small example of that in the end of that 31, how they was actually going to spare the women and the little ones. Moses said, hey, nah, kill them all, except for the virgins. But we see is that, shoot, even pertaining to Saul, he got a commandment, and what did he do? He spared the king. Skip down to verse 20 and read that.
And Saul said unto Samuel, Yeah, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen.
So you see, the people took of the oil, sheep and oxen. So he trying to pass it off on the people. What else he said?
The chief of the things which shall have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal.
So we was going to sacrifice these oxen unto you, God. But what the Lord say in verse 22?
And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord?
So you know, like the Lord, He got more great and delight than your obedience. That's what we're getting at right here. God gave you a commandment to kill everything, not to spare the king nor beast. He said to kill everything. So Samuel is saying what? Have the Lord as greater delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices? As in obeying the voice of the Lord? Go ahead.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
So to obey, like, that's better than sacrifice. These sacrifices that you thinking about offering up to me, Saul, guess what? Obedience is better than those sacrifices. Go ahead.
And to hearken than the fat of rams.
So to hearken is better than sacrifices. What is saying in verse 23 though?
For rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
So stubbornness and rebelliousness, like, man, that's like witchcraft and idolatry, which is iniquity. Go ahead.
Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
And this is where Saul lost his kingship. You know, his kingship was taken away, handed to David, but we came here to just pinpoint or tie the two together to see that, hey, you know, the Amalekites, they were spared by Saul because he was being disobedient. He didn't roll with the commandment how God said kill everything. Even we saw in that Numbers 31 how that, Israel was going to spare the women and the little ones. So that's how they could have very well came back on the scene, is that we just probably didn't kill them all. That's from what I'm reading. You know what I mean? It might be somewhere else in there as to, you know, how they came back. But, I mean, that apparently had to have been the case. You know, they just all wasn't killed because, yeah, they're not just going to come out of nowhere. You know, some of them probably didn't, all of them probably didn't get killed. You know? But, okay, that makes sense. Thanks so much for answering my question. No doubt, sis. That's what it is. So, that's it. Yeah, like Cheryl Battle said, thank you. Thank y'all. That's what's up, sis. Praise the Lord. Yeah, so peace, Jeremy Moore. That's it, man. Yeah, that's it. So, oh no, that ain't this, man. Matthew 12:24. Who is the queen of the south? Nate dealt with that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, cool. All right, so we ain't got no more questions online. We about to close out. We about to close out. You want to walk around and let them know? I don't think they even hear it. There you go. We about to close out. We about to close out. Told him. Praise the Lord. Yeah. Yeah. Praise God. That's everybody? I don't think. That's everybody? Yep. All right.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done in earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
And forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord,
Praise the Lord,
for he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
for he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray,
In Jesus' name we pray.
the Holy One of Israel,
The Holy One of Israel,
the King of kings,
the King of kings,
and Lord of lords,
Lord of lords,
the one true God,
the one true God,
and there is no other.
there is no other.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
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 In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Hey, you better that. I know, man. That's what somebody posted on that the comment box. Huh?
It was you.